Hope y'all can hear this. If you're here to enjoy the tea, feel free to chat with me. Come on and talk to me. I really wanna know what you think. I wanna hear your truth. I wanna see what you see. Come on and talk to me. Pick up Lovelyti in these green room streets. I wanna hear your truth. I wanna see what you see. Come on and talk to me. Pick up Lovelyti in these green room streets. Hey, you guys. Okay, so this is very different. I'm still trying to figure this out. So I know y'all loved the hat earlier. This is another one of my favorite hats. I have a few favorite hats that I do like to wear, outside of YouTube. So y'all was like, wear the hat. But I didn't want to wear the Prada hat, during the whole stream because it got shadows on my face. So I was like, let me put on this black Rhythm Nation type hat. But I hope you guys are doing good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So this is a live YouTube call-in show. And the reason why we are doing this is because, as you guys all know, last week was the very last Green Room show with Spotify. Spotify has canceled it. The app doesn't even work. If you click on the app, it's like, oh, this app is not available. So I've been trying to find where else we could come to just have the discussions that we do. We usually do call-in shows once, maybe twice a month. I've done shows where I've had teachers call in and it was all about teachers. It was all about nurses. We've talked about conspiracies and everything in between since about 2020. So it's very bittersweet that, the Spotify live app is gone, but we're going to try this with the YouTube audience where people can call in and state their opinion. Now, from what I'm seeing on StreamYard, it only allows 12 people backstage. So as people come on and state their opinion, I'll remove them and then it'll bring on more people. So if you guys cannot, so if you're trying to get in and it's saying that it's backed up, that is just because there's so many people trying to get in and it only has for 12 slots. So it is a lot going on. We're going to talk about it. I want to hear from folks. I want us to have just really good dialogue, because I'm just so confused about all this drama, honey. So let me first say this, right? I don't know Eboni K. Williams like that. I didn't really know her backstory. I knew she was a lawyer. I'm into reality television. Y'all know The Real Housewives. That is my show. I've been watching it from day one. And so she was one of the first Black women to be on The Real Housewives of New York. This was in 2020. They were super excited, but it was just constant conflict with the other women. She was accusing them of white fragility. They were accusing her of racism, reverse racism. And so she ended up leaving the show. They said that the show just became too woke. So a lot of people did not like her on the show. They felt like it was not a good look. So that was my first introduction to Eboni K. Williams. So when I first saw her with Iyanla, Iyanla Van Zant, her name always confuses me. It's a tongue twister. So when I first saw her on there, I felt like, okay, I'm confused as to why people are so upset. This woman is 40. And I did go back and watch the full interview, and they were talking about a lot of things, not just the whole bus driver thing, but she's very accomplished. And I just did not understand, the full backlash. And then she doubled down. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and play the clip because for the people who haven't seen it, I'm going to play the clip of her with Iyanla. And I'm going to play the clip of her basically doubling down. And then we will get to the clip of the Breakfast Club. So give me just a moment here. I'm going to share my screen with everybody. You guys should be able to hear everything. Give me just a second. It's weird because I just see all these faces back here and I'm like, it's very strange. Okay. So we're going to watch this here.
We as women have the power to create and attract anything we desire, but we don't get still. We won't shut up. And we manage everything through fear, control, and survival, as opposed to feeling, knowing, and blooming or flourishing. Complete different thing. But since we've never been trained, we haven't been trained, we haven't been taught. So we do it the way we were taught to do it, which is very masculine in nature.
And very external. I feel that you are describing me to a T, Miss Iyanla. When we talk, and I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I could build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalanced. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So it's not that it's bad or wrong. It's obsolete. It's obsolete. We have to come up with a new way of being. I don't believe in carrying a man. A man has to do for himself. My son got his first job when he was 9. 9. Okay? Because you're a black man, you will know how to take care of yourself. But I think the way we measure it, it's just obsolete.
Now let's address the response to the interview and what some of y'all are calling a backlash. So let me be clear. First, I am a professional disruptor. So backlash is my business. And I will always take it on the chin for the sake of advancing the work, conversation, or movement. So know that I am completely unfazed by the onslaught of nasty comments, wishing me a sad, lonely, bitter existence until my untimely death. Now, that is some weird energy to be wishing onto a black woman, especially one who has dedicated her life to the liberation of black folk. But, whatever, I guess, go off. See, I wanted to talk about how do we close the gap between black women who do show up in a so-called masculine posture, those of us that are providing and building and protecting due to circumstances that we might feel make us feel that if we don't do it for ourselves, we will have to go without the resources and protections we need to feel safe in this world. But Dr. Iyanla went in a different direction. She asked me a personal question. And y'all know I have been extremely transparent about the fact that my life choices and my chosen lifestyle are far outside of the norm. So when I said that I would date the bus owner, a lot of y'all heard something different. Some of you heard the following. Bus drivers are whack. Bus drivers are broke. Oh, and I'm too good for a bus driver. The only thing is, y'all made that part up. See, I said what I said. But then some of y'all started talking about salaries and hourly wages, pensions and benefits. And that's wild because I was never talking about money at all. I was talking about black ownership, but some of y'all made it about money. I'm talking about ownership, black enterprise and entrepreneurship, because really I am talking about black liberation. And if you read my book, you'll understand why. So I'm standing 10 toes down on that position. And I don't really care if you're hurt or offended by it. And since some of y'all are already big mad, let me go ahead and make you incensed. So out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of Black men when I said what I said. But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming me personally and Black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse. Now, I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay, as long as you're doing your best. Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of Black men. So no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay. No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love to fall comfortably into the bigotry of low expectations. So I'm going to say one more time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with driving a bus. My mother Gloria drove one for years. But could it be that Black America has been sold a narrative of average, regular, and typical being good enough for us? Well, see, that's called white supremacy. And in this case, it takes the form of conditioning Black Americans to happily accept being a permanent American underclass. But see, because I know the truth about Black folk in America, no, average is not and will never be good enough for me. And the gag is, I don't think it's good enough for you either.
All right. So y'all just heard the original video that went viral with her and Iyanla Van Zant, sorry. And then you guys heard her response, her doubling down. So because of that doubling down, that is why she ended up on the Breakfast Club in this situation with DJ Envy. DJ Envy, he was going through a lot of beige rage. You know, what she said about dating, not wanting to date a bus driver really triggered him. He said it triggered the fans, and they had a pretty intense back and forth. So now I'm going to play you that clip. So I want y'all to watch this. I just want to get everybody up to date so they know, you know, exactly what we're talking about here. So we're going to watch this, and then we will start taking on some calls. So give me just a second here to share this screen. All right, so this was her on the Breakfast Club.
I know these people that do it, and they put in hard work. So when you said I wouldn't date a bus driver unless he owned his own bus, a lot of people felt it like, yo, that's disrespectful because just because I took a job, and a lot of people take those jobs for a couple of different reasons. One, the benefits, right? They know they can work for 20 years. After 20 years, they can retire, and they still get their retirement, and they still get their benefits. So after 20 years, they can. Most police officers, the same thing. They get their retirement, they can still carry their firearm, and they can still get their benefits. So I look at it as that's a great hustle. They work for 20 years. At the end of 20 years, let's say they start at 21. At 41, they done working the bus company, done being a police officer, done being MTA, and now they just making money on top of money. So it's value over values, right?
Ivy, let me stop you right there.
It's not.
Do you think for 1 second, and I know you don't know me that well, but we've had enough conversation. I had you on Revolt Black News. You talked to me about your father who was a leader in law. Do you think for 1 second I'm about to push back on anything you just offered in that statement?
You can.
Right. So I cannot. And so what I'm telling you is what you are applying now is not the facts as they were given to me. Iyanla did not ask me, Eboni, would you date a bus driver that also had a real estate portfolio? Iyanla did not ask me. Hold on now. Eboni, would you date a bus driver that also has a litany of franchises? Because you and your wife just bought 5, right? Six crystals? Crystal burgers. Okay. Mm-hmm. She didn't ask. That was not the framing of the question, Envy. Had that been the framing of the question, I would have said, Dr. Vons, where the fuck he at? So real quick, did the man have to come with a resume and say all the properties that I own, or do you get to know that man and see what he's about? But see, that's semantics now. They felt like that you were putting down the average person, quote unquote, average job, and the person that was working the average job, that their what they do is not as good as what you do. That's a projection, Envy. That's a projection. Because I'll let you speak. Go ahead. Let me talk. Go ahead. So when you start talking about all this, and I read the comments just like you did because I wanted to prepare myself when you came up here to understand what people were mad about and understand what people were upset about. So when you're talking about all this brother this and the black man this and the white supremacy this and this, that, and the other,
that's all to the side of how you felt about that quote unquote average job, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest with you, right? One of the comments that I said, and maybe I'm not sure, right? The guy was like, you talk about all this about lifting a brother up and lifting this up and white supremacy and what you do for our people. And then the first thing the brother said was, but your fiance was white. And I'm sitting there like, how do you talk about how much you're uplifting and how much you're going for black people, but that's not necessarily what you're even looking for?
Well, first of all,
Paging Dr. Umar, damn.
Well, let's address it. And let's not skip a beat. Mm-hmm. So I would love to know how you, Envy, know what I'm looking for. We never had the conversation.
I don't know. I'm telling you what people are saying on comments, what I've read, and I'm talking for them. I'm not a bus driver. I'm speaking for the average person out there because I feel for them, because the bus drivers and the average person are what keeps these lights on here on the Breakfast Club. That's right. They keep me booking shows.
Nobody is saying. Okay, first of all, this is not about you booking shows.
I'm just telling you how I feel. So when you shit on the people that
first of all, Envy, you're dead ass wrong for framing it as me shitting on them.
You don't think I'm shitting on them?
I know it. First of all, I know it wasn't. I think what you're saying right now is irresponsible. I think what you're saying is irresponsible.
Envy,
I think what you are framing right now in this moment is highly irresponsible. Because if you listen, I'm going to tell you. Because if you were to listen to all of the full Iyanla interview, the full sidebar, the full episode of Holding Court, nowhere in any of that commentary did I say a cross or negative word about the working class of Black America, of America broadly, or Black men. I'm going to get to the why was my fiance. Envy, let me finish this statement. I'm going to get to.
Just because you didn't mean to hurt somebody, first of all, I don't affect somebody doesn't mean you didn't hurt a community. I can say anything about somebody, but I didn't mean to hurt you. But if you hurt people, you hurt people. If people feel a way about you, they feel a way about you because those people that you talked about are the people that buy your books, that listen to the show, and that hurt.
Ebony, what about words like average, mediocrity? Typical, and the bigotry of low expectations. I think those are the words that hurt the working class.
You can sit here and say, no, I didn't hurt nobody. You hurt people out there that buy your books and follow you and support you.
You asked me to be quiet. Y'all, please. Y'all asked me to be quiet. I listened to your full statement. I understand you have a feeling about it.
22 minutes, and I just spoke for 60 seconds.
She is here to talk to us.
I know, but I just spoke for 60 seconds.
We got ours off already. Let Ebony talk.
I'm just returning what she said.
Don't
act like I didn't let her speak. She spoke for 22 minutes.
Go ahead, Ebony. Let her talk. Don't do that. Let her go. Go ahead.
So, Envy, this is where we're different. My primary focus and goal when I do what I do in the world is not to protect feelings. I'm going to be candid with you. I understand it's clear from the energy that there is an emotional attack that you felt was on Black men, the working class, and Black America. I'm going to hold the space for the feelings around that. But more than I care about hurt feelings, I care about providing my people with facts and information that say that the current way of life for the majority of Black Americans is not serving us. I'm going off of the data and the facts. I am not okay, and I don't think it's okay that the vast majority of Black Americans, again, overpopulate, disproportionately occupy spaces that are not ideal, that make us vulnerable. I talked about the COVID, that make us vulnerable to death, disease, maternal health, all the things that y'all all talk about on this show every day. Now, if y'all are okay with the current positioning of Black America, that we are the lowest income, the lowest home ownership, the lowest educated group, then so be it. And let's just stop talking now and keep on going about our business.
All right. So it's a lot to unpack, but I wanted to kind of give you guys a full backstory before we get started. So, this was my whole thing, right? When I first talked about it on my live stream on Monday, all we heard was the viral clip. I don't even think the full interview was up yet. We just heard the clip that went viral with her being asked the bus driver question. And so for me, it was bothersome because, like I said, I don't know the full extent of what Ebony does, but I do know that she was popular enough, rich enough, and well-to-do enough to make it on the Real Housewives of New York City. Okay, so meaning that she's just not like your average female. And I think people are not looking at what she's saying in context, like I was saying on my live stream Monday. One, DJ Envy's talking about somebody working, being a bus driver for 20 years and then retiring. Ebony's already 40. People are upset as if Ebony is a 22-year-old girl.
making demands about wanting somebody who had, who makes a 6-figure income. So I think we got to look at things in nuance. She's a 40-year-old woman. She doesn't have another 20 years to wait for somebody to get to the level where she's at. Hence why she wants to date who she wants to date. And I think that's okay. I don't see anything wrong with somebody dating somebody they are equally yoked with. We only have these conversations in the Black community. Like I said on Monday, I highly doubt if this was any other housewife, if this was Teresa Giudice, if this was, Melissa Gorga, just any of these white housewives, these conversations never come up. These women go through divorces. They done had their husbands, cheat on them, all types of stuff. They've moved on, and they've always gotten, the next person they've gotten with has been of the same caliber or even richer than the last person they were with. Nobody would ever ask Teresa, would she date a bus driver? So to me, I kind of felt like, it wasn't warranted in that conversation based on her merit. And I think that's what we all got to do some, like some soul searching, right? Kind of look at yourself introspectively, if that's the correct word, is that, where you kind of stand in the grand scheme of things. Iyanla saying that she'll date a bus driver, that's fine. If that's what she's willing to do and she wants to date a bus driver, bless her. But also, how many, 6-figure men, millionaire men are checking for a woman in her 70s? And I don't say that to be disparaging about her age, but I'm just keeping it real. Like I said, when most men with money, right, when they choose to date, they want the cream of the crop. They're usually going for younger women. They can date down and it's okay. A Tiger Woods can date down and get with a babysitter. It's okay. She doesn't have to bring anything to the table but, arm candy and be pretty. But again, if a woman like Eboni dates down, she'll get flack and they'll be like, well, you're a lawyer, you're a multimillionaire. Why are you dating a bus driver? She'll get flack in that aspect. If she says that she doesn't want to date down, quote unquote, right? And she wants somebody of her caliber, meaning another lawyer, somebody who makes what she makes per year. Now she's a gold digger. She's talking down on the community. Again, when you look at this in nuance, right? If Eboni, let's say she wasn't a lawyer, she wasn't a multimillionaire, she was your average nurse, right? So let's say the average nurse makes about $50,000 a year on average. If this was the average nurse saying that she would not date a bus driver, when most bus drivers make between 30, sometimes you have bus drivers who have been there for years, they're making upwards of $70,000, $80,000 a year, right? If you're only making 50 grand a year, you have no right to look down on somebody who's making 40 grand. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like nobody's looking at this in context. She's not coming from a point of view where she's only making $30,000 a year and she's shooting too high, or coming from a point of view where she's a 25-year-old woman and she's looking down at a bus driver. And it's like, you're 25, you haven't even lived life yet. How are you talking down to a bus driver? This is an established 40-year-old woman. Another thing, I saw a lot of people saying that she was being condescending, her tone. I do think the bus driver question did kind of turn her off. You can see, like, physically, she was kind of like, oh, you got me messed up. You could see that. I would keep that real. But it's very interesting how a lot of men are saying that she's condescending. She's talking down to the Black man. She's bringing down men. This is not right. But for years, I watched a man on YouTube named Kevin Samuels do the same thing. I'm confused. I can't tell you how many women would contact me and be like, watch this video. You need to make a video going in on him. He's going in on Black women. And I'm like, I'm not making a video. I don't care. Because what he's saying, he's not talking to me. I have myself together. A hit dog hollers. And my thing is, if somebody's making you uncomfortable, why are y'all watching him? Why are y'all calling into his show? I'm not a glutton for punishment. So I never called into his show. That's not, for what? So it didn't make sense to me. People wanted him canceled and silenced. And it's like, if you guys don't like what he's saying, just don't watch it. But I noticed the energy was different. He was just as condescending when female callers called in. He called people mediocre. He said their looks were below average. I would see these clips that would go viral on the Shade Room. He would blatantly tell women, oh, you're a 6 at best. You're 5'3" and you're 175 pounds. You're fat. And everybody would laugh and cheer him on. Yes, you tell them these women are delusional. If you're under 5'5" and you're over 175 pounds, you're fat. You're the size of a linebacker. He would drag. And people loved it, sent super chats. You know what I'm saying? He was, so many celebrity men had him on the podcast. I think he was supposed to be on the TV show Atlanta. He got all types of perks. So I guess I'm just not understanding why the energy is so different when Eboni says it. Like now she's condescending, she's a bitch, she's this, she's that. But I'm like, there was a whole man on YouTube, and not just him, there's all types of men on YouTube who talk this way. And they're not nice about what they say about Black women. When they have preferences and they say, well, I make 6 figures a year. I got money. I'm 45. I don't want a 45-year-old because your eggs are probably powdered eggs. People cheer it on. Yeah, I don't want an old lady. I want my wife to be able to have kids and not have a bunch of complications and Down syndrome and all types of stuff. And as women, you just got to eat it. Why? Because that's their preference. If a man says, well, I'm not really into dark-skinned women, that's messed up. But again, that's his preference. There's somebody out there for everybody. I'm not about to sit here and beg somebody to make me their priority. That's silly. If a man does not want to date me because I'm dark-skinned, oh well, his loss, not mine. So I'm just confused when men have preferences, when they say they want a woman who's a certain size, certain height, has to be a baddie. And they have the means, right? So we're not talking about your average fry cook. We're not talking about, the weed boy. We're talking about men of means. When they say they want a baddie, they want an Instagram, model. They want a girl with a huge following. They want to go for looks. Women just have to eat that. It is what it is. I mean, some complain and cry. I'm not. I don't care. But I'm just saying, for the most part, you have to eat that. She is a woman of means. She's not working customer service making $10 an hour. This is a woman who, went to college. She started from the bottom, worked her way up, really grinded and got it. And so now she's in a position in life where she's like, I'm not willing to date somebody who's only making 50 grand a year or who's a bus driver. I'm just not willing to lower my personal expectations. Why is she not allowed that same grace as when I see men say the same thing? Because like I said, if a woman is too fat, too dark, bald-headed, whatever, they can have all these stipulations and you just got to deal with it. And, again, I just feel like, I did appreciate the Breakfast Club conversation because I watched the full conversation. So one thing I did like is the fact that I think that out of all the shows, I haven't watched Breakfast Club in a while, I really enjoyed this. This was informal. It was like just food for thought. Even the back and forth, even reading the comments, like we need this type of dialogue. Like I enjoyed it. And I like the fact, even though a lot of people may not agree with DJ Envy, I like the fact that he stood 10 toes down in what he believed. And that's what I've always said on this channel, is that we should have the right to discuss things and to talk and to go back and forth like adults. We don't have to go lowbrow. We don't have to troll and dox people and just do all this stuff that you see people doing. We should be able to have a conversation. You don't have to agree with what I say. Where I stand is where I stand, and I'm not apologizing for that. Where DJ Envy stands is where he stands, and he's not apologizing for that. And guess what? That's okay. That is the generation I come from, where you could have dialogue. We don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. But now it's like, if you're not on one end of the spectrum, you're everything but a child of God. So I was here for this debate. I was here for this conversation. And I'm glad that we have people, chiming in. And that's why I wanted to do, the call-in show. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and we're going to start bringing on some calls. Let's see here. Moneybag Mo is in the house. Thank you, sis. Moneybag Mo done came through. She dropped $399.99. Thank you so much for your continued support on my channel. It means a lot to me because y'all know YouTube loves to demonetize. So I appreciate you, sis. Let's see here. Also, I have a bunch. Wavy Tay sent $99.99. Thank you, Wavy. He says, hey, Auntie, this is your favorite soldier checking in. Just wanted to give you some of my grit money on this lovely spring day. Also, folks need to stop acting like we are in a Disney movie. This is reality. And the real world, in the real world, folks with money pursue others with money. Exactly. I definitely agree. So thank you so much once again for always coming through and showing love and support. I appreciate you. Kitty Cobra says, T, you look beautiful today. Love you too, sis. Thank you. Rhonda R sent 5 says, Harry Belafonte fought for black causes and married white. She can do both at the same damn time. Yeah, and another thing I want to bring up before the calls come in, I kind of wonder if a lot of the hurt feelings is because Eboni is definitely the type of women that these type of men lust after. One, she's a very beautiful woman. She has naturally long hair. She's fit. She doesn't look like she's 40. She looks like she's about 30 years old. She's beautiful. And what I noticed with this conversation, it's all this hurt talk. But if this was a woman that most men don't really find as attractive, oh, they would have drug her by her looks. Oh, well, don't nobody want you. That's why you talking like that. Good luck. There would have been so many comments about that person's looks, their weight, their hair, their skin tone. I feel like, y'all's not ready for them conversations. I feel like part of the hurt is because Eboni is very beautiful. She's not the stereotype as a black woman. I don't even think she has kids. So she's not up here with, 5 kids by 5 baby daddies. And I think that's what really bothers some of these men, is that she's the ideal woman that they would date. But she's telling them right now, unless you're at a certain caliber, you have no shot at me. And she didn't say that towards black men. She said men in general. She didn't even make mention of men. She said bus drivers. Bus drivers come in all shades and races. So I think that might be part of it too, because I noticed while there was a lot of tattoo tears and people upset, I didn't see nobody call her ugly, call her baby mama, say she was out of shape, say she was black as hell, bald-headed. I didn't see none of those comments. The usual. I didn't see those. Just saying. Dorian Senfai says, I'm not even straight, but these constant debates are tiresome. Even to somebody from the outside looking in, date who you want, mind your business. Yes, it is a lot. Mari sent 499 says, the fact that Envy brought up her white fiance is very telling. When the pro-black athletes he interviews are married to other races, he doesn't say a word. That was very telling as well. I thought that was kind of disturbing because, and I'm assuming DJ Envy is just a light-skinned black man. I don't know, because they've, made fun of him. They said he's beige. I'm just assuming he's light-skinned. His wife, to me, does not look black. She looks very ambiguous. So, I'm confused. Why does he care if she was with a white woman? With a white man, when his wife is ambiguous. It's not like he got a chocolate sister with an afro on his arm. I didn't understand what the point of that was. But let's go ahead. Let's start taking some calls. And I definitely want to hear from the guys as well. So feel free to call in. And you have 5 minutes. And then we're moving on to the next. Leah, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hi, T.
Hello, Leah. How are you?
Oh, my God. You got my name right, first of all. No one gets my name right, ever.
Okay. Hey. So what do you think about the conversation?
Okay, so I watched both the interview with Iyanla and I watched The Breakfast Club last night. Personally, I don't see anything she said wrong. That, like you
what
said.
Happened?
Oh, hello?
So there? Okay, there you go.
Okay. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with what she said. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, the message is there, but it was her delivery and all this other stuff. But sometimes the delivery needs to be the way that she said it. It needs to be candid. It needs to be blunt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you said, in what world outside of a Tyler Perry movie will a lawyer of her caliber date a bus driver? Nothing wrong with being a bus driver. It's nothing wrong with it. But in reality, the chances of a bus driver getting with a high esteemed lawyer is slim to none. It's just they live in two different worlds and they move with very different circles. It can happen, huh?
I said definitely. Like, where would she be in a space to meet a bus driver?
Like where can that happen? So
I mean, unless it's at her book signing, I just don't see her randomly getting on a bus.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in, Leah. Okay, let me go ahead. I don't know if this stream is acting up. Okay, let me bring on Nifa Nee. I'm going to add you to the stream.
Auntie,
Hey, how are you?
good. How are you, girl? I'm sick. I'm really sick, but girl, I got to talk about this. I got something to say, girl.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Let it out.
Okay, so first things first, it happened so fast. I think people is really missing it. Miss Vincent, Miss Iyanla, she is a master of deflection because Ebony asked her a very great question. How she put it, how she worded it, that was a great question, and I was looking for the answer. But Miss Vincent answered the question by asking Ebony a question. You can't answer a question by asking somebody a question. That was deflection. By far the best deflection of 2023, if you ask me. Like, she just went, would you date a bus driver? No, girl. No, that's not the question. No, answer the question. No, that question was out of order. A bus driver is out of her tax bracket. Come on. If we talk about generational wealth, if we're talking about ownership, the question should have been, would you date a councilman? Will you date a judge? Will you date a lawyer, an entertainment lawyer, or what them lawyers is who work with the car crashes? Them type of lawyers, like somebody's on her level that has the same education level. I know a lot of people don't talk about degrees and they don't like to talk about like college graduates, but I mean, Ebony is a lawyer. She's a co-host. She's been on Housewives. Like, a bus driver, no. How would Ebony look? Because Ebony talked about her parents on the Breakfast Club. How would she look bringing home this guy to her mom and dad, her parents that worked hard, did different trades, like she said? You know, I'm engaged to this bus driver. No, they didn't pay their hard-earned money or however she got them scholarships to go to college for that.
Yeah, I think the question is just kind of out of nowhere. And I feel like those questions are always purposely thrown towards Black women. And that's what I was saying. Because like I said, I know Ebony from Real Housewives. And I just feel like if that was a white housewife, nobody would have asked her, would she ever date a bus driver? And I think that's the part that's kind of frustrating. Why are these questions always aimed at Black women? And this is not to knock anybody, because like I said, there's nothing wrong with being a bus driver. There's absolutely nothing wrong with blue collar work, being a plumber and electrician. You guys know that when I do my Spotify live shows, I give platforms to regular people, nurses, you know what I'm saying, teachers to call in and express themselves. So I do, call-in shows for just regular everyday people all the time, because again, if it's not for you all, we wouldn't have any of this.
I drive trucks, Steve. Yeah. So I know what
you know. I mess with the truck drivers. I've been encouraging people to go get their CDL forever.
Right. But I'm not out here trying to date the president of the United States. But like, even if the president was trying to date me, I mean, men date down. Women, why do Black women have to date down? Why do we have to go under our tax bracket? Like, why do we have to settle? That's not cool. And then she never shitted on any of the bus drivers. I'm sorry, can I curse? I'm sorry about that. But I'm just using her words. Because in DJ Envy, I'm so mad at his beige rage. It's like he needed to tone it down. He got real emotional. It was very unattractive.
Really and I'm like, I've heard men say worse about Black women on social media, and I never see this anger or this emotion, you know. And again, it was just very interesting. I'm gonna keep you on the line. I think I see some men calling in. I definitely want to hear from the fellas. Tim Henderson, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Can you hear me? I think you want to come. Yeah. Yeah, the email was created for me a long time ago, and I didn't want to give my name. So if you
Okay.
want to, I don't know, I don't want to get kicked out or booted off.
No, you're not going to get kicked out. Just go ahead and state what you want to say. I want to hear from some men. So I want to see like some men names coming in here.
You want to get men first, or just have me go?
You said what?
Okay, I thought you wanted to go men first.
No, just go ahead. You're already on here.
Okay. I totally agree. I'm actually I'm young. I'm 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't have my life together, I'm trying to get my life together right now. I recently graduated, but it's been hard to find a job. Once I do get my life together, I'm not dating men that make less, especially as a dark-skinned Black woman. Forget the name. I'm sorry. My librarian did it for me because she didn't want me to put my name out there publicly when I was younger. But even though I'm dark skinned, like people expect you to date down. If anything, I think sometimes when Black women raising their standards can be a protection. I've heard many men say they will go for women they never plan on marrying, they never plan on even entertaining, right? Simply because she has money. She's a basic 6 in their eyes, and she moved up to an 8, or she's a 5 and she moved up to a 7. And so to me, I don't think Black women should have to lower their standards, because sometimes that can be your protection, right? That can be your protection, that if a man, because a lot of these Black men, what's the pattern? When they get money, they don't tend to go for the dark, even though Ebony shoots the standards. Had Ebony been Amara La Negra with no kids, and she would have said, I'm not dating men who don't make equal or greater, she still would have gotten way more backlash. And I think what they're upset at is, I heard a man say this, that they're upset that they don't get sexual access. They don't want Black women getting this idea because there's some women in the community they just use for sexual access. So I think it's very dumb if women choose to lower their standards. It's going to come to bite you back. These men don't end up grateful. They end up cheating on you with their preference, moving on. And are you okay with somebody that you?
Your phone is kind of muffled. We're struggling to hear. It's like really muffled and going in and out. But thank you so much. I got most of your points. So thank you. Okay, we're gonna bring on some more people. I think this might be a man. We'll see. Lee, adding you to the stream.
Hello.
Where are the men? These men are in the comment section. Y'all aren't calling in.
No, I'm a woman. I just wanted to say, it's crazy how everybody's up in arms about this when women have fought for rights, equal pay just as men, but yet we don't get the same, and then they complain about us making more or wanting more for ourselves. You know, 100 years ago that we got the right to vote. We can't even have a right to figure out what we want to do with our own bodies. But everyone has a problem because women have a preference.
Okay. So we have a man on here. Ikenna, welcome. Thank you for calling in, because we've been waiting for the men to come. And so what can you add to the conversation about this? How do you feel about this? Do you feel like Ebony was being disrespectful? She's wrong. How do you feel about DJ Envy's take coming from a male perspective?
So I feel like I don't feel like she was wrong in what she said, because of the fact that like you said, where is she going to ever meet a bus driver to begin with? Now, if Iyanla had phrased the question, like she said, in a way where it's like, well, he's a bus driver, but he also owns, real estate, on the side. He bus drives on the side, something like that. Then, okay, then she probably would have been more open to that idea of a bus driver. But she just acts, and like the other woman had said, she answered a question with another question, because Ebony asked the question first. And, what this really boils down, everything that you've talked about yourself, T.
Okay, I don't know. Something went with the internet, kind of went out. Okay, I can see you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so everything that you've talked about, everything that's been discussed that I've heard, because I've heard from other outlets and platforms and other content creators as well who've talked about this, because this is a big deal, especially in the Black community. This seems to, in my opinion, revolve around Black male worship, which is what the Black culture, the Black community is all about. Because, perfect example, Kevin Samuels can say certain things like this and nobody says anything. It's quiet. It's a normal day. But when Eboni says something like this, or maybe a woman who's darker than Eboni says anything similar to what a Kevin Samuels would say, it's a problem. To me, that seems like, and that's just one example, okay, of Black male worship. Envy seemed to get, and I have my issues with him, Envy seemed to get, flustered because of the fact that, and that was a tell for me, was that when he brought up, oh, well, your fiance, because her fiance, her ex-fiance, whoever, has nothing to do with the Black community. Right. Whether she's married or dating or with a white man, that's going to propel or bring the Black community any lower than it already is. The standards for Black men are already so low. So they're going, the game that they have on Black women is that they're going to shame you and put you down in order for you to feel like you can't get anything but them. You see what I'm saying? So I think Black women need to spend more time understanding the pathology of Black men, because they already know the pathology of Black women in and out, which is why they can get away with these types of things. All these examples that everybody brings up, it's because of the fact that they know that they live in a Black man worshiping culture. So it's a normal day for them. So Black women really need to get onto how Black men think, because when you start to get onto how they think, you can start to see what's really going on. At least in my opinion, because I've seen what's been going on, and I've been an observer. I've been watching from the background, and the Black community is in such a disarray. And for Eboni to take the stance and be brave enough to set standards for Black, because at the end of the day, we're talking about Black men. Even though she said it's about Black men, but it's really what it is. Because at the end of the day, if you're looking at data, if you're looking at statistics, the Black community, even Black women, are a step above Black men in the social totem pole. So it's about, she's calling out Black men, setting standards for them. When you meet those standards, then you have more access. Nobody wants to be working subjugated under someone, an employer, for the rest of their lives. We want to be able to own more business. We want more data showing Black people, Black men, owning more businesses. You see what I'm saying? Owning their own, their own legacy. So I don't think that what she said was wrong. I feel bad for her because she's getting this backlash, but hopefully there's somebody that can take this.
So thank you for that. So we have more people calling in. I'm going to bring more people on. He made a lot of really good points. Now, Nick, you talking about, oh, they're just calling in agreeing with T. I have posted the link in there. You don't have to agree with me. These are these people's opinions. So if you want to say that Eboni ain't shit and she's wrong, call in. The link is down below. So let me go ahead. I'm going to bring on, I see a few more men. I'm trying to just see, Doc, I'm going to add you to the stream.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. How are you?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm doing good.
Oh, also shout out to the Discord. That need to plug
all
that
right
in. But I gotta say, can I cuss?
Go ahead.
Okay.
That was good.
I'm so fucking sick of this conversation regarding Black relationships between Black men and Black women. It is getting very tiring because all she was stating was her preference. Due to her being in a higher tax bracket, why would she be in the same circles as a bus driver? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And yet she's being shamed for not lowering her standards to meet the qualifications of said bus driver. But on the flip side, if this roles were reversed, and the man was rich and he lowered his standards to get a woman who was a bus driver, then she will be labeled as a gold digger. She will be labeled as a whole plethora of things. Mm-hmm. So then it's legit. Like, what's the point? What's the point? We need to have a higher standard for ourselves. And we also need to know that just because somebody has a standard on what they want does not make that a slight against you. Just because somebody said that, hey, I'm not interested in a bus driver, that doesn't mean that she doesn't like bus drivers. That doesn't mean that she doesn't like lower class individuals in our community. That just means that for the ideal person that she wants, bus driver isn't in the category, and that's fine. And similar to what you stated earlier regarding race, if like my philosophy is, look, date whoever you want, As long as you're not on some coon mess, I don't care. Like
Right.
you don't undermine this. Go over there, be happy, but don't undermine your own community. That's goofy stuff. And plus, on top of that, you have people like Frederick Douglass, Harry Belafonte, who still do pro-black stuff while dating outside their race. So you can walk and chew gum essentially. Just because you date outside your race does not mean that you automatically hate your race and you're just turning your back on it. It's just you found somebody outside your race that you rock with, and that's fine. But that's all I had to add. But thanks again for
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you for calling in from a male perspective. I like that. He made a lot of really good points. And, again, he didn't say anything I disagree with. I just feel like people are very emotionally upset when it's coming from a Black woman stating this. But I have seen people create entire YouTube channels talking about their preferences, what they will and won't accept in relationships, and it's cheered on. It's clapped, it's applauded, and she says one thing, it's an issue. So let's go ahead and bring on the next caller. Let's see here. BK, I'm going to add you to the stream.
Hi, T. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. How are you?
Okay, I love you. I just wanted to say that. But actually, you know what? It really bothered me. I don't really comment on a lot of things, but I did watch the interview with DJ Envy, and it bothers me because I'm a 46-year-old accountant, and I'm also switching careers and going to school for nursing. So listening to what she's saying, she's making a lot of sense. And this is the same thing that I tell a younger generation. Just broaden your ambition, broaden your expectation. When you settle, when it makes sense, mediocrity. If that's acceptable to you, just being average, then bless you. But where's the promotion? Where's, hey, you can be above average. You can be elite. Nobody puts that out there, so nobody dreams of taking it that far. We're already preconditioned to just settle for, go to school and just become part of the working class. And I felt like the guy, he came in with the beige rage. He wants to play word games on what she's saying, and he wants her to define the mediocrity and average. Okay, according to my bank statements, I'm lower to middle class. I would love, what am I going to argue that that's not the reality of my financial situation? I would like you to classify it as non-elite. Okay, if that makes you feel better, I still don't get it. Seriously, it's kind of like, where's the ambition? Where's the promotion that you can do more and you can be more? And there's other things that you can do instead of falling into a system to go and get into a lifetime debt for a college degree. Their skill set. That's what she's saying. Occupy a skill set that's going to bring you revenue, and understand that this revenue, money, is a tool. It's a tool to enhance your quality of life. Everything is not about money. And if anybody listened to what she said, she told Iyanla, I would, if he owned the bus company. But how would she know if he owned the bus company or not if she didn't take time out to listen to him? So she's not saying, okay, well, he's nobody. He's on the bottom of the totem pole, and I'm just going to, shrug him off up front or classify him as this. She's going to hear what he has to say, and then she's going to determine, whether he's suitable for her or not. I'm just tired of, these. I think men at some point in time, DJ Envy, he really showed his insecurity, because you have some males that have problems with intellectual women. And that's what it is. I don't even think it has anything to do with finances. It's an intellectual woman that rubs them the wrong way. And then they, you want to go with the tomato and just be the beta, but she's saying everything that needs to be said. People need to broaden their horizons. They need to think outside the box and stop conforming to a system that's going to keep you a blue collar worker. If that's what you want to be, then fine. But those jobs are always going to be fulfilled because everybody needs a stepping stone to start somewhere. It's where are you trying to go in life? I'm not saying that I'm not going to listen to the guy that makes $30,000 an hour, but I want to know. I wouldn't know he makes 30,000 and he's trying to build his own restaurant or he's trying to invest in real estate property if I'm not listening to what he's saying. And on the other token,
well, thank you
it's more like
calling in because we want to get more people. There's a lot of people on the stream, but you made
sure.
a lot of good points, sis. So thank you so much. It was good talking to you.
You too. Thank you.
Bye. Okay, let me go ahead and bring on TK. Okay, let me go ahead and bring on TK. You gotta mute the background.
Hey T.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, man. T Sipper Discord member. What's up, y'all?
I know that's right.
I'm gonna keep it real short with y'all. Nobody wants mediocrity. Nobody wants average. Nobody wants that, and nobody should want to aspire to be mediocre and to be average. Envy got in his feelings. His beige rage was showing. She didn't say nothing wrong. She gave the textbook definitions of those words, and he chose to dance all around it, get in his little beige rage feelings, and then go look this woman up to speak on her ex-fiance. I
thought that was really weird.
He's being a bitch. He's really being a bitch about it. But nonetheless, Black women, I don't even date men. I'm a lesbian. Black women, we don't have enough standards. We don't have enough fucking prerequisites for the people that we call our mates. Fuck that. Have your standards. Have your preferences. Because when you don't, you get bullshit. You end up with shit. You deserve more. You should have more. You should always aspire to attain to get more. And each one teach one. I'm not going to be out here doing some dumb shit and expecting that to come back to me fruitfully. You know? So Black women, love yourself. Do what you got to do for you. If you need to be your protector, your provider, because you're not getting it from your partner, do what you got to do. Because at the end of the day, this world is cold, it's long, and you're going to wake up with yourself and you go to bed with yourself. You're going to die with yourself. So you got to be happy for yourself. So fuck all the other shit. So I agree. So T, I'm with you. That's all I got for you.
Straight to the point.
That's all I got for you, T.
Okay, thank you so much for calling in, sis. It was good talking to you.
See you, T.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right, Victor, we got a man.
Hey there. You can hear me?
We can hear you perfectly. How are you?
Good. I'm sorry I don't have my cam up. I'm taking my medicine right now while I'm watching your show. T, I ain't gonna lie. I'm really so surprised at you because I really thought you were a voice for the people, and you're allowing them to call our bus drivers mediocre and average. Now,
how am I allowing them to call?
Don't get me wrong now, T. Don't get me wrong. I know that, there are some average Joes out there, but some of the humblest people drive those buses. Some of the humblest people are on those buses. And, them saying that, how would she share the same space with him? There are family outings. There are nice restaurants. There are venues out there that are accessible to bus drivers. They're not just on that bus, mind you. You know what I mean?
I even said they could probably come to her book signing.
Maybe. I maybe not anymore.
but I don't think, because I'm giving everybody a chance. I'm not going to control how people speak. I don't think anybody is saying that being a bus driver is bus drivers are mediocre people. What they're saying is that what Eboni does, she has that right to say that she wants somebody that she's equally yoked with. Like I said, if this was a woman who was working customer service, or even let's just say she's making $40,000 a year as a teacher, she would be dead wrong to turn her nose down at a bus driver. You're not making much more than that person. You guys are basically on the same level. This woman is a multi-millionaire woman and a lawyer. And then on top of that, y'all got to take into consideration her age. So she doesn't have another 20 years to build with somebody. She wants somebody who already has themselves together. Why is that wrong? Because in the same breath, a man who's in her position, right, who's making six figures, he can say, I want a baddie. She can't be over the age of 30. He can have all these expectations and nobody shames him for that.
maybe they'll shame him. You saw what happened to Chris Brown when he made his preferences known. So there is backlash sometimes because DJ Envy said, people get hurt by what they say. You know what I mean? Just because a girl doesn't have a good set of hair on her head, or what they deem is good, doesn't mean she's not a good person. She's not a loyal person.
Right.
She's not on top of everything. And I just think for her to say, don't look for love in the bus driver. You know what I mean?
But she didn't say that though.
Didn't she? She said.
To me, from what I took from it, Victor, is she speaking for herself? Like, no, if he owned the bus company, she didn't say, "All you black women don't look for love in bus drivers." And so let me ask you this, and I love the fact that we're just having dialogue, right? Everybody's like, "Hang up on him, T." No, he's not being
Oh, I'm
disrespectful.
sorry, Chad. I'm sorry. I'm not reading the chat. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. But no, let me ask you this, because I agree with you. So, like you were saying, you have women who may not have, super long hair or wear weaves or might be a little bit overweight, but they're still good people, right?
Mhm.
So why, when Kevin Samuels and other men are like, oh, you're a 6 at best, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, people kiki and laughing, it's, well, that's that man's preference. So, it's like men do it too. And it's supposed to be, well, get over it. That's his preference. Lose weight. You need to, build yourself up, make sure your hair is done, your nails done. You need to look good for a man. And Ebony's saying that she wants a man that owns something, that has ownership, that has built. And it seems like it's wrong when she says it, but it's okay when certain men say it.
It sounded a bit gold diggerish, and I feel like that's why she had to come back and clarify what she meant. It just felt like she was all after the bag. A bus driver, no way.
But is she wrong for that though? To be a
Never,
gold? Is
never,
that wrong?
never. She's a human being with her likes and dislikes that she's entitled to.
Okay.
Never. She's never wrong for that.
Victor.
I just wish she would have took some accountability that she did hurt some people.
Yeah, but I think the reason why she's not going to take accountability for hurt feelings is because, again, we can't dish it, right? You have people who literally make videos, they make content all day, every day, going in on Black women. And people tell Black women, get over it, wear your natural hair, lose weight. There's no sympathy when Black women get drugged. But for this, it's, oh, she has to think about the hurt feelings of men. And is it just because she's a pretty woman that all these men are all of a sudden hurt? Because if she was average at best in looks, they would be dragging her looks. But because they can't do that, now everybody's hurt.
I really think it's just her platform. She just, she spoke it out to her platform, and everyone heard, and now, like you say, some people are looking at bus drivers like, yeah, I probably won't ever talk to you. That's, and that's sad to say, but, I guess that's just the world we live in.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Victor, thank you so much for calling in. Okay, it was good talking to you.
Thank you for letting me call in.
Yeah, definitely.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye. Yeah, I'm gonna give everybody a platform. You don't have to agree. Victor has his own opinion. Y'all are throwing tomatoes at him. Y'all leave Victor alone. That's his opinion. He said, she was harsh. She hurt feelings, and it's okay. That's how he feels about it. Let's see here. Univirgo Soul, go ahead. I'm gonna add you to the stream.
Thank you. Hi, T.
Hey.
Victor is hurt. Poor baby. And that's a lot of men out there. You know why? Because that's exactly why we're having this conversation. Ebony has a tone of voice that I had to go look up her birth date, because she sounds like 55, 60 when she speaks, because she's so eloquent and strong with her voice, right? I think that part alone and the words that she uses can come off as she wants to be better than, or she's combative, or she's this, all the things that they were saying, right? I can like relate to her in that aspect because my tone of voice. I know certain tones of voice, they just get people. And the
But I
way
know
that he just said
a lot of men were saying that she was coming off very masculine, and that's not
it
attractive.
was.
But I'm like, is
It
it
wasn't it.
masculine because she's assertive and standing in her truth?
So that's I seen it on both ends. At first, I'm looking at her like, "Girl, you ain't never gonna have a man. Like, relax." It's like, and nobody can be perfect. That's how I was looking at it. But as she spoke, and as other people have been saying, her resume, she can say that. I can't say I want a man who I can't say I don't want the trash can man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't feel like I can say whatever I want. Everybody, we can have dreams and aspirations, but in reality, I'm gonna be looked at by the man like, girl, where's your benefits or your 401k or what makes you better than me? Where she can stand on it as she did with Envy and say, I have this background. I did not stand for less or mediocre. Where my mother went as far as she could go, and I felt like I needed to go farther for me. And she did speak for herself. So I don't understand why everybody's upset, because that's her preference. Just like a man could say he wants a big woman, a small woman. A very good conversation. It was a very good conversation to be had. And Envy was in his feelings. And I still did respect Envy for standing on his thing. He just didn't change it, and I like that. You know what I'm saying? He felt how he felt, but he was very much in his feelings, and I was like, calm down, Envy. He's like, she's not talking about you. And I feel like where it became personal for Envy, because he didn't think he was going to be this big DJ Envy. And I think at one point he was probably, like he said, when he was in school, you just want to be a DJ. And yes, we looked at you like we wouldn't be with you. I wouldn't be with the DJ. You know what I'm saying? I want the trash man. And Gia would not be with you today, probably, with your little beige rage, if you weren't who you were. She would not be dealing with his little bitch assness. That's on, real, straight up. But he is a good person and everything he was saying was real. But it still was like, you're taking your personal feelings into this. She's speaking of herself. Not every woman. She didn't say that, but she did say we all should aspire for more. And I do for myself, and I want that for my man,
Definitely.
So that's my opinion. That's just my opinion about it. But it was a very good conversation.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for calling in. Good talking to you.
Love you, T.
Love you too. Bye. All right, let me go ahead. I'm going to be removing people from the studio so more people can come in. Let's see here. Adu, I'm going to add you to this stream. Adu? Okay, maybe they're not ready yet. All right. Let's see here. Jay Dillon, you're added to the stream.
Hello.
Hello, Jay.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly. What do you think about the whole situation?
I feel like people want participation trophies.
Oh. Okay. I wonder if he's in a bad spot. Is it just me?
What?
Okay, hello. Can you guys hear him? Or is it just me? I don't know if my stream is freezing. It seems like it's clocking. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, let me bring on Toby.
Hey T, hey T. So I'm just so excited because this is my first time seeing you out here. So I may stutter a lot. So also shout out to the Discord gang, by the way.
All right, welcome.
Okay, so how I see this is that I feel like a lot of black men, they have an issue whenever black women have standards, because they see black women as, you're supposed to be at the bottom of the totem pole. You're supposed to basically you're supposed to just take whatever you can do. Basically, take what you can get. So if some bum off the street basically hollers at you, you're supposed to just take him. And a lot of black women, they're waking up and realizing they're waking up like, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm basically they're used to being bashed online, talked down upon by all these dusties who honestly, when I look as a man looking at them, I'm like, I don't want to aspire to any of you guys. Whenever they speak, I'm like, bruh, just sit down somewhere and go. Just sit down somewhere with your white chick and be quiet. Ba- how however, so a lot of black women are like, you know what? I'm gonna start having standards too, because if all these men can say I want a bad bitch, I want a baddie, I want a girl with a 40-inch ass, yada yada yada, then black women can say, you know what, I want a man who's kept, a man who's in my tax bracket, a man who basically, hold up, a man who actually loves me for me and on the inside, and basically, whenever black women basically say that, these men, they get upset because they're like, how dare you have standards. And that's when they bring in, that's when they throw in all these other things. You're hurting other people's feelings, yada yada yada, basically pulling a DJ Envy. I'm like, when DJ Envy was going off on and on, I'm like, dude, sit down and go eat out go eat out your wife. Go do that.
Well,
Maybe.
not about your wife. All right, Toby. Well, thank you so much for calling in. You made a lot of good
Yes.
points.
Yes. See ya, T.
Okay, bye. All right, let me go ahead and bring on the hippie.
Yay. Hey T. Discord.
Hi.
How y'all doing, Discord? Hey. Um I don't know if anybody touched on this, but I find it funny that we didn't get this much anger from the urban radio stations like the Breakfast Club for Black women when Kevin Samuels was dragging Black women on a normal basis and saying that they're supposed to be shaped a certain way and they're supposed to be at this caliber. How dare you want a man here if you're here? I didn't get all that. But a woman of color that is stating that she has standards and possibly setting the tone for the next generation, even if wasn't her intent. Now we're getting all this anger. It's sad. But that's all I want.
Okay, no, you made some good points. Thank you so much, sis. Yeah, she made some good points. The energy's definitely different. And I think with what she's saying too, that is it because they see that Ebony's probably going to influence these girls to want to do better, which in turn is going to have to force these boys to step their game up, So yeah, let me go ahead and bring on Curtis Williams. Go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hey, T, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm good. So let us know what you think about this conversation.
Listen, let's. I'm a man here. Let's get rid of the political correctness bullshit here. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If you took the Thanos glove and snapped away Ebony's profession, and you turned Ebony into a Hooters waitress, Ebony's an attractive woman. I want you black men to tell me what attractive woman of any race dates bus drivers. All right. So this is my frustration. My frustration is that when we get into these think tanks, and this is black men and black women, we get into our feelings and we don't really just sit there and think like, if Ebony Williams was broke and looking for a man, I don't see attractive women. There's always one-off exceptions, but I don't see attractive women. And of course, everybody's perception of what attractive is a whole nother thing. But I think she's an attractive. She's fit in shape. Tell me the white attractive, Asian attractive, Latina attractive woman that dates a bus driver.
Right.
So to me, that's the elephant in the room here. A lot of people don't like Kevin Samuels and didn't like him. But one thing I will agree with him on is, men, we don't care about your careers. We care mostly. And you could probably agree with this, T. We care mostly about how do you look. And if we get down to brass tacks, that's what a lot of this is about. For men, women, a lot of black women think that them being an attorney or being whatever kind of profession raises their market of what kind of man they can get. No. Ebony being an attorney is a plus maybe, but men don't really we don't really care. We care about how she looks. Based on how she looks, I don't see a lot of a lot of attractive women of any race date bus drivers. So I don't know why black men are getting so up in arms. It's kind of ridiculous to me.
Right. So let me ask you this real quick, Curtis,
Sure.
because that's one thing I had said earlier, that it's very weird that so many men are hurt. And are they really hurt because of what she said, or because she's very attractive? And now they know they don't have a shot at her.
I agree. I agree.
I think it's more or less because she's pretty. Because again, I haven't seen not one comment talking about her weight, talking about her hair, talking about her skin tone. They're just mad at the fact that she won't date a bus driver. But if she was an unattractive lawyer, they'd be lighting her up. But because they can't go in on her looks, now everybody's playing this hurt role. And where did this hurt role come from? Y'all drag black women all the time about their looks and being a sixes and being average at best.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And keep in mind, I'm not saying no attractive woman would date a bus driver.
Right.
But I'm saying in general, we all know about assortative mating. Normally, broke guys with lower than average professions, they get women who look lower than average. Average men get average looking women. Above average men get, the baddies, right?
Right.
So that's always been a thing. That'll always be a thing. And I think somewhere along the line we're not taking that into account either. So I just want to chip in with that little point of view. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you so much for calling, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Looks like we got some more men calling in. I'm gonna bring y'all up here. Give me just a second. Anthony Ross.
How you doing, T?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. Can you hear me good?
I can hear you perfectly.
All right, first, I just want to say I love your show, and I love you and everything you've been doing. I've been following you for years, and I'm glad to be talking to you. I'm a little nervous. I'm going to just try to make it quick, but I just wanted to comment on, what we were talking about. I don't think what Ebony said was wrong, because I think ultimately it just kind of falls on what you're kind of looking for, because I feel like I've seen some success who I deem successful, but they really wouldn't mind necessarily taking care of somebody that they're in a relationship with, because they're more looking for emotional support. And I know that might sound corny, but I feel like if someone doesn't supply materialistically, but they can kind of speak to you spiritually, they can speak to your mind, they can have those conversations with you that somebody with money may not be able to do. I feel like maybe that's what Ebony was missing. And maybe because she's more the kind of woman that's looking for, I guess the finances of it all. But I don't think what she said was wrong, because maybe that's just a result of her opinion. Her experiences and things that she's been through. And that's why she's looking for what she's looking for. But a lot of people have been through a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, and they might just want like a friend that they can trust, somebody that they don't have to worry about, at the end of the day. And that's enough for them, even if they drive a bus or not. You know what I mean? So I just feel like that piece, I just wanted to add that piece to the conversation.
Okay. No, you did good for your first time. Thank you so much for calling in, Anthony.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Bye. All right. Let me go ahead and bring on Alicia.
Do I just talk, or am I good?
We can hear you, sis.
Okay, perfect, because I've never done this before.
Conversation.
Hey, T, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm good, thanks, love. So I just want to pivot a little bit, because one thing I love about this conversation is it has people so heated that it's been a moment to shift the culture and discuss what she really wanted to talk about, which was elevation. And instead of adding to the dating conversation, I want to know, and I want to ask you the question, what do you think about the comment she made about Black people being the permanent underbelly of the community, and how we should use education to inform and become elite and advance and move beyond mediocrity?
I agree with everything she said as far as that point, is that we got to want to start better, and you have to start with this next generation. And that's what I was saying at the beginning of the stream, is that, everybody wants to now act brand new, because she's saying that, for her, she wouldn't date a bus driver. She's not knocking the profession. That's not where she's at in life. But these are the same people on social media who hype up and follow all of these influencers, entrepreneurs. If you're not driving a Lambo, you're not shit. If you're not walking around here with red bottoms and Hermes bags, y'all don't follow struggle people on social media. Everybody's following the guy or girl who's making $1 million plus a year. Y'all are following these influencers. Remember, one of the biggest things on social media was flex culture. But now everybody wants to act brand new, like, well, the average person is a bus driver. But who do y'all worship and put on that pedestal? It's people who are above average. So I think we do have to have a real conversation, like you said, ownership, generational wealth, and how people can come up out of poverty. You know, like when you first start getting that bag from social media or from, you know, selling hair or selling clothes, what you should do with it. Investing in property first, as opposed to investing in stuff that does not accumulate, that does not increase in value. So I do agree with you. That was a very, very important conversation that she was having. And even the part coming from a technical background, I love when she brought up the fact that AI, automation, people are not even having those conversations. In a minute, they may not be no bus drivers to choose from because, you know, cars are driving themselves now. We see they're starting to take a toll on the whole Uber and the Lyft industry. And that was supposed to be industry to help people to get extra money. But then once people started asking for fair wages, wanting benefits, what they do, they bought in self-driving cars. And now in San Francisco, you can have their version of an Uber and it's self-driving. So these are all very important topics. That's why I say I feel like some of it is hypocrisy. People are mad that she's not willing to, you know, look twice at a bus driver. But a lot of y'all wouldn't even follow a bus driver on social media. I have a bunch of truckers that, you know, that are fans of mine, and they have trucking vlogs. They don't get a whole lot of views. They don't get a lot of followers just doing their day-to-day job. No, everybody's following the guy who's driving the Bentley down Rodeo Drive. Let's keep it real. You know, people are not following the average female on social media. They're following the baddie with the small waist, the big boobs, the fat ass. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like people are being willfully disingenuous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it is a matter of honesty and people being real with themselves about their own standards. I think some people are even triggered because they need to reflect on themselves and where they're at in their life too, and decide, am I mediocre and what do I want to do to be better? Or am I happy being mediocre at this point? And that's the real conversation. To me, it goes beyond dating because Ebony's preferences are hers. They don't bother me. They don't make no difference, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we can use this conversation to reflect back on ourselves and see where we're at in our lives.
No, I definitely agree. And even with Marcus Houston, remember, a lot of people got mad because he said he did not want a woman with kids because he felt like that was baggage. And what did I tell you? I said, I totally agree. Why? He doesn't have children. When you don't have children, you have the right to be picky. If I don't have no kids, I'm not talking to a woman with 5 kids by 5 different men. I'm not. Just like if I'm a man, if I'm a woman, I'm not going to talk to a guy who has 5 kids by 5 different women. Absolutely not. That's why I said, if you don't have children, you should be trying to get with other people who don't have children so y'all can have children together, create a family, get married, all that stuff. So I think sometimes we get too offended by people's preferences. You have to look at their situation and say, you know what? That makes sense. He has no children. Now, if he was coming to the table with 4 kids by 4 different women, how dare you say that you don't want a woman with kids and you got 4 kids? Ebony is coming to the table with a degree. She's a multimillionaire. I don't find what she said strange. Like I said, now she was a fry cook and she was the biscuit girl at Bojangles demanding a 6-figure man. I'd be like, sis, you need to bring it down a notch because you're not even bringing in 6 figures. You know, but it's like nobody's willing to look at the nuances. People are just getting in their feelings.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for answering, T.
Definitely. Thank you for calling in, Alicia. All right. Looks like we got another gentleman. Larosco. I hope I said that right.
Yeah, you said it right.
Hi, welcome.
How you doing? Yeah, I am a big fan of yours. Boy, you keep me going every time you post something. I love you. It's my salute.
Thank you.
I'm going to say this. Mm-hmm. Now, what she said wasn't a problem. It's one, how she said it, and the body language that she had. See, psychology teaches us, watch somebody's body language. Then they will tell you who they really are. Now, she can have the preferences all you all she wants. But the problem is, just because you don't want those preferences, don't start dogging them. You see, she came out with most of y'all probably got C's and D's in school and all that. Now we crossing the line into insults. You can have a preference all you want. See me, I'm retired. I'm a professional football player. So I'm up there where she's at. The problem is that she's 40 years old almost. She's single. And she's getting to that point where she's hitting the wall. Now, she has all the money, all the education. However, the men that she talks about that's up there don't want her. See, now there's nothing wrong. She's a nice looking lady. Do your thing. But when it comes to, well, I want somebody that owns the bus. Well, Eboni, you work for somebody. You don't own Griot. So you can't sit and talk about ownership when you don't own the broadcast, the network that you're on. So therefore, you work for somebody. Now, as far as preferences, I played football. I knew my salary. I know that I had to pick of anything. But you know what I did? I went back to the hood and got the chick that wanted me for me, not my money.
For the fame and the football.
And I married her.
Wow.
I got a beautiful 28-year-old son, 2 degrees out of that. So what she said, I don't have no problem with it. It's how she said it. And then you want to go across the line talking about it. To see, if you want to be technical, I know a person that got C's and D's and they became president of the United States, George Bush. And that's all I'm going to say. I love you, girl.
I love you too. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. And that's what's about, just differences of opinions, you know. That's very interesting what he said, though. Like, you're demanding somebody owns the bus company, but do you own the Grigo? You know, so let me go ahead. Keep calling in. Lee Estes, you're on the stream.
Yo.
Hey.
You can hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm actually about to go back to work. They got last dude, he said a lot of truth in what he just said. I was gonna say the dude before him was out of his mind. What type of beautiful woman marries a bus driver? Well, my wife married me.
So we
they
got a
gotta
bus
stop.
driver calling in. So
Yeah,
how did
they
you
got
feel as a bus driver when Eboni said that? Because everybody's talking about their uncle who's a bus driver. You're an actual bus driver.
Yeah, and I make great money. I probably live a better life than most of the people calling in or in them comments. So stop shaming bus drivers, because I live how I want to live, travel how I want to travel, and do what I want to do. Most bus drivers that have been driving as long as me make over 6 figures. They all own businesses, real estate, things of that nature. Where do these people live at, and what do the bus drivers make in their city? Because in our city, bus drivers live good. It's not being the guy in the fries at McDonald's. So I don't really care about her and her preferences. She's already said some sideways stuff about she doesn't want to be some dude, light skin fetish and all that. So she has some other stuff going on. But just as far as a career and a job, why is this looked at as settling or being mediocre? Because I live a good life. That's
Now,
all I want to say.
do you feel real quick before you go back to the bus? No shade, I wouldn't say.
No,
Y'all are
it's all
messing.
good.
No, I'm just saying you have to go back to work. Do you feel like the reason why people sometimes have a mentality of blue collar work, bus drivers, and things like that, where they kind of look down on it, you know, because social media plays a part in that? Because like I said, nobody's following the bus driver vlogs. Everybody's following the entrepreneur in the Lambo. So do you feel like
Exactly. The problem is this. Yeah, people are so fake and phony. It's the first 5 years, I've been a bus driver for 10 years. The first 5 years of being a bus driver.
You still there? Okay, I guess I don't know. It looks like we might have lost them.
No, I got here.
Oh, you're here? Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, you got to deal with the fact that in your own community, people are looking at you sideways because you chose to get an honest job. That was the first 5 years. The last 5 years, all the people that would have hated on me, I'm doing better than all of them. I have everything that every dope boy in my hood ever wanted. So they need to stop with all that shaming bus drivers and whatnot, because they need to come get a job. We're hiring. Come get this money. It's here.
Let them know.
Yeah.
Again, there's
I'm getting
nothing
back
wrong
to
with honest work.
Yeah. Trying to tell them. All right. Well, thank you for letting me call in. I'm gonna get back to the money.
Okay. All right. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
All right. Peace.
Bye. I love it. We were a bus driver calling in, and I think he got on the bus and the signal. Somebody gonna say this is why the buses are late. Y'all gonna stop harassing my T-simplers. Okay, this is what we want. We want dialogue. I want to hear from people. Regardless if they agree or don't agree, this is what it's about. It's about talking and having open and honest dialogue. So let me go ahead and bring on Crystal Lewis. Go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hi, T.
Hey, how are you?
I just want to say I've been following you since you were doing hair videos. So I just want to say I pop in and out, but I love what you do. So thanks.
Everybody keeps asking why I'm brushing my brush or a comb.
You look great. Sometimes I chime into the live just to see a look for the day.
Oh,
it's very nice. You treat our eyes very well. But I want to briefly expand the frame of the debate in one way. And my point is not necessarily to the exclusion of others, but I want to mention a potential challenge and define a thing. So when I saw Iyanla Van Zandt ask, would you date a bus driver? I focused more on the word date. And my response would be, well, tell me more. Or well, yeah, sure. A date is just a date, right? You never know about all the qualities of somebody until you get a little bit closer. So I just want to mention that, I know it's implied when people say dating as like someone leading to marriage or a long-term commitment, but not necessarily. A date is just a date. A date may not even end up being romantic. Frankly, I see a date as just a one-on-one way to socially engage. We don't always know the real reason why we meet the people that we meet, the people that we encounter while we're going about our life, or the people that say, hey, I know somebody that you may like, and I don't think it should be limited to just the surface qualities or, what's on their resume. I think the challenge for some people who spend the majority of their time focused
like this stream keeps freezing. Are you still there, Crystal? Okay, looks like it kicked her off. Maybe her phone went away. She was making some good points. It went out. And I agree with what she's saying, because sometimes we get so caught up in the bag and the money and the titles. I remember everybody was talking for a while about a high value man, but it's like, what exactly is a high value man? Because just because somebody makes six figures, does that make that person a good person? Money doesn't always make you a good person. Sometimes it really shows who you really are or who you always were. And now you have the money to buy the trinkets and to treat people like trash, So I like the point that she's making, just like with women too, just because they're supposedly high value and have all these degrees, you might be educated to death, but you could also be an educated fool. So yeah, we do have to take the time out to get to know people outside of just these titles and, pay grades. So let me go ahead and bring on, looks like Jay Dillon is calling back.
Hey,
you in a better spot?
I think I am in a better spot now. I just want to say that there is a big disconnect, I think, from the messaging of what people are understanding from that message Eboni gave out. She's basically talking about participation trophies and ribbons. We cannot expect to be productive and have what we are desiring if we don't work toward it. You can't become the next Lovelyti or the next Oprah without putting in the work to get to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of times, a lot of Black men especially like to be coddled and like to be told that they can do X, Y, and Z, but they don't put forth the effort to move up. And then there was a guy a listens ago who brought up George W. Bush for being a C and a D student. He's also a white man in America that grew up through nepotism. So you have to go ahead and look at the parameters of what we're discussing. Don't just pull fucking straws out of your ass trying to get a point across.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a true point.
So when we're talking about Black people in America, we have to talk about the fact that we are already at a level that's not an even, fair playing field. So we have to be above everybody else. Even Beyonce, who continues to put out the best records of all time, continues to lose to white men that don't put in the same effort. We have to take and contextualize everything. And I think that critical thinking skills. That's how you fall into these manosphere, misogynistic backlogs of thinking. But that's all I have to say.
Okay. Well, Jay came through. He was not playing. Thank you so much. And a lot of people in the chat are agreeing with you. Yeah, he made some really, really good points. I think this stream is, I think maybe because it's a call-in show and there's so many people on the line, I think StreamYard may not be able to handle the bandwidth because it keeps going like in and out, but we're going to keep going. We've been on for an hour and 35 minutes, so we'll keep on for another half hour. Let me go ahead and bring on Twinkle. You there? Okay, maybe they're not ready. Let me bring on Manny.
Yes.
Hello? Hey, Manny.
Dang, what's up, Lovelyti? I actually been following you for a while. You've been doing a great job. I'm trying to get you to 1 million subscribers, so everyone subscribe to our channel. So I'm actually a professional myself. Most people consider that I make pretty good money. And one thing I've noticed a lot, I think there's kind of been this like battle of the sexes that's been going on for the last few years, particularly between men and women. And one, for me, as far as like with dating, I think one of the previous gentlemen also mentioned that that essentially a lot of men are not, they don't really care about like, you know, careers and jobs. I think it's just more so of like how they interact with you, and more so kind of like there's a, how can I say it, a loss of like femininity that's I've noticed in the last few years. I think some of the previous young women who were on the stream were like calling DJ Envy like a bitch or something like that. And it just because they had a disagreement with it, I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think we should be speaking to each other like that. And I don't think that that's a good way to kind of have this conversation kind of progress. Another thing too, with that whole conversation with DJ Envy, I know everyone's talking about beige rage. I think for him, he came from a very emotional standpoint. I actually don't disagree with Eboni K. Williams. I think that it's okay to want what you want. I'm not the type. I'm a black male, but I'm not the type of person to be like, oh, because you're a black woman, you can't date outside your race. I feel like date who likes you. That's kind of always been my thing. I date people who like me. I don't try. You can't convince someone to like you. You know, so I think that's a very important thing. So I'm a little nervous. So I'm trying to kind of get all my thoughts out and stuff like that.
Fine. So let me ask you this, because you said that, you know, you have a good job, you make good money. So do you agree that it's easier for men to date down? Like it's almost like for black women who are like in the same position as you, if they make good money, have degrees, if they date down, you know, Jill Scott, you know, just so many women, and just looking at celebrities where people have said that they dated down. But it's always easier for a man to do that. Like right now with what you make and what you do, you can go get a girl, you know, that's working at a restaurant, that's a waitress, and she's pretty and nobody's going to judge you for that. But I feel like it's a double standard for women in your same position.
I do, but also I think as men, we're taught very early on, like what women want. Like even as a young man, you're taught how to treat a woman, how to interact with a woman and stuff like that. And for most men, I think we all understand that we have work to do. You know that you can't, if you're short, it's going to be difficult, right? If you're broke, it's going to be difficult. If you're not over 6 foot, it's going to be difficult, right? But we all understand there's other ways to kind of build yourself for to get the attention of the opposite sex or the same sex, whoever you want. But I always kind of put it out there that like, how can I say it? I just want to put it. I just want to put it out there that. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. I'm a little nervous about that. I never done these like StreamYard things. But no, as a guy who makes good money, dealing like most of the time when I deal with young women, I try to really focus on the things that will help us build together. I think that the flash, when you're a younger man, you kind of worry about, I think, so, you know, like the 40-inch asses, I think what the previous guy said, and, you know, the kind of the exterior things. But as you get older and you want to build something and kind of build a family, you start to look for things that kind of add value to the longevity of a relationship. And I think one thing that Iyanla said that really stood out to me, that I think a lot of people are missing, she mentioned about integrity. And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to anyone, not just a man or a woman. I think you have the right to pick any person that you want, but if you are having trouble finding that person that you want, you may have to do some self-reflection and say, like, how can I get that person? Do I need to lose weight? Do I need to get my money up? Do I need to have a better attitude? Right. So I think, you know, no one would disagree that Eboni K. Williams is not a beautiful. Most people agree that she's a beautiful woman. I don't think that's the issue. She doesn't have any issues with money. But I think, you know, excuse me. I think one of the biggest problems, I think, sometimes with a lot of women now is that they think that a guy on that status will kind of like tolerate sometimes that masculinity that's there, and usually a lot of times they won't. They'll just like kind of slowly disappear, you know. So that's just what I want to say.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, man. It was good talking to you.
Okay, keep doing the good work that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so let me go ahead and bring on a few more people here. Nate, you're coming to the stream.
How you doing, T?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Hey, if you good, I'm good.
Talk up a little bit.
I said, if you good, I'm good.
Okay, so what are you thinking about the topic tonight?
I think, personally, since the 90s, the bar has been going lower for both sexes. We've been shallow as hell, if you haven't noticed. And since social media has been out and everyone's on camera, it's just in the forefront. And we've been going at it, at least in our melanated community, back and forth. And I feel like if you want to destroy a whole race in America, we're on the brink of it. We keep on fighting, we keep on doing this stupid stuff, and we can't seem to get a footing on how to both come together and create something.
Right. No, I definitely agree, because even if you watch the full interview that she did with Iyanla Vanzant and even the Breakfast Club, there was so many jewels dropped in both interviews outside of the whole dating thing. But what we've all homed in on is the drama.
And they keep on showing that. And I feel like it poisons a whole generation to where people think the preference that they want instead of what they need is why the divorce rate is so damn high. We're not being bred to be in a marriage. We're being bred to be F-boys and city girls. So once you get the cash, a lot of females do come, but they don't realize that the money brings an ugly side to some people, most people in America. There's just something here, I don't know what it is, but it's poisoning the youth and it's poisoning the minds of even our older folks. And it's very interesting that a lot of people aren't paying attention to this, but they're just fighting. And the fighting is going to destroy us if we do not get our shit together, personally.
I agree. You made some really good points. Thank you so much.
One more thing, T. I looked at your old videos. T, you need to let that hair flow. You have the most gorgeous hair. You do.
I stopped because everybody was trolling me, calling me all types of nappy heads, and as soon as they disagreed, they would go in on my hair. So I said, I stopped wearing my natural hair.
Hey, I say curse all of them. Your hair was gorgeous and it was draping. Don't ever let nobody else tell you different.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You have a great one, all right?
Okay, you too. Bye. Yeah, I'm still team natural under this wig, but yeah, I was natural on YouTube for like 5 years, every video for 5 years, and it just got to be too much. And I'm gonna keep harassing my hair. But yeah, maybe I'll wear my real hair one day again on camera. Let me go ahead and bring on Bree.
Hi T.
How are you?
I'm doing good, but I just wanted to say, like, just like that last person said, like, about your hair and everything. Like, I know this is kind of off topic, but like, I'm 19 and I've been watching you for like, I feel like 4 years now, maybe. And like, you're just such good representation for like Black women in general. Like a lot of the stuff that you have said, like, even if I disagree with it, like, I respect it.
Thank you. I
So,
appreciate that.
but about this situation, I feel like from a younger perspective, I feel like a lot of these people and a lot of these adults from the clips I've seen are very childish. And like this conversation, I feel like these types of conversations happen on the internet like every 6 months. And it's kind of like I'm ready for you guys to wrap this up. Just for the simple just for the simple fact that um like for example, Ebony, y'all are saying she's a lawyer. So why do y'all expect a lawyer to date a bus driver? That just does not make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. Why is it when it comes to Black women, like we have to date, we have to be tested. You get what I'm saying? Like I've seen it everywhere. Like way I've grown up is that the way I have grown up is that, you know, bus drivers are average. But what's wrong with being average? Why is average a bad word? You get what I'm saying? It's like social media has made it to where average is a bad word when it's really not. Nothing is wrong with being average. And I don't know why there's a lot of like bus drivers, that one football player, that ex-football player that came on here that are getting butt hurt. It's okay to be average because most of us are. It's okay to be average. And then on top of that, I just feel like about the ex-football player, I was thinking like, and I'm sorry if I can't articulate this correctly, but I'm sitting here thinking like, you said that you left the girl back in the hood that was down for you before you went to football. So does that mean that you just dropped her and then you went for whatever was best, and then once you stopped doing all the stuff that you were doing, you went back to her? Like that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. Like when it comes to Black women, is that we get dropped, and then once they are at their highest and then they fall down to their lowest, then they want to come back to us. And I don't like that. Like I don't like being like, I don't like that. That's just disrespectful to me. And it's disrespectful. This whole conversation is kind of disrespectful to Black women in general who, you know, are beautiful women who don't want to date, who are not average and don't want to date average people. Why do we have to date average people? We see it all the time where there's beautiful Black women who are dating, and I'm just talking about dating. I'm not talking about being in relationships or anything like that. They're just dating. And they get dragged because there's a certain type of man that they want to date, and that's on their level. I just don't understand. I'll never get it and I'll never understand it. But that's all I have to say.
Okay, well you said a mouthful. You're 19?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And I see it all the
From
time.
the mouth of the babies, you know. So that no, I just really love your perspective, and just you articulated yourself well.
I'm just saying, like, from my perspective, from my age group, like, yes, I do see a lot of girls in my age group that get gassed up. from social media, and they feel like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna date a 6-figure man. Like, I don't know if y'all watch Kendra G, but
It's sad. The
but
media is just taking a toll on both genders.
yes, but like at the end of the day, like social media is taking a toll, but also I need people to understand that people are going to have their preferences, and that should not hurt you in general. It shouldn't hurt you. It shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't affect you, because at the end of the day, that person wasn't going to date you anyway.
Right. That's why I never understand when like dark skinned Black girls will make video after video crying, and he wasn't gonna date you anyways. Move
Yeah,
on.
I'm
Like,
not. I'm not.
crying and acting like it's just a curse to be dark skinned. It's sad.
I'm not gonna get, but I'm gonna go where I'm celebrated, and I'm gonna go with the people that are around me. So if if a person says they're not gonna date me because I make a certain amount of money, or I say I'm not gonna date somebody else, you shouldn't get butthurt. Find somebody that actually likes you and that's gonna love you for you, instead of getting butthurt by a random lawyer. I didn't even know who Ebony K. Williams was until this whole situation. Like, I didn't even know who she was. So I'm confused. Like, why are y'all so mad? And I have a inkling in my mind that it's probably because she's a light-skinned Black woman, and people are way upset. But if it was somebody like, dark skinned, ugly, just looking a mess, then people would have a problem with it. But anyways, those are my 2 cents. I'll let somebody else come up.
All right. Well, thank you for calling in. It was good talking to you, Bree.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. All right, and I'm gonna read some of the super chats too. I see a lot of super chats coming in. Thank you guys all for the support. Let me take some more calls here. I'm trying to get a mixture of guys and girls. Jay Brown. Oh, hold on. I think I clicked on the wrong person. Okay. CEO.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for doing this, T. I've been watching you for years, and I just celebrate you and thank you for giving us this platform.
Definitely. Thank you for calling in.
It's my pleasure. So I love this conversation. I want to be a little bit vulnerable with the audience and yourself. I'm a 33-year-old woman, and I put myself through college cleaning houses. And I just recently, well, in the last 2 years, I let go of my childhood sweetheart because of something that this conversation brings up, and it's about leveling up. I think as I put myself through school, right now I'm in law school, and also I'm an engineer. The person that I was with is amazing, and I will never put him down. But where we started 14 years ago is still where he is, and my life has surpassed him. And I found myself when I was in the relationship with my ex carrying him because I loved him, because I wanted him to do better, because I fell in love with the potential of what he could be. And I think as you level up, and I hate to hear when I've seen men on this call saying men don't care about your education. I came from the hood. I am the furthest that anybody in my family has gone. And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of making my family happy. I want to be with a man that values education moving forward. With my ex, I didn't know what my value was. And I think a lot of women go through that journey in relationships where you're not quite sure what your value is. And you go through things and you get hurt a little bit and you realize, you know what, I deserve better. And with me walking away from my previous relationship, it was the first time in my life I chose me. It was the first time in my life that I said, you know what, I can be ambitious and I don't have to dumb myself down to be loved, to be wanted. I'm a beautiful woman. I'm one of those people that, oh my God, you see me, Sierra, you're beautiful. You can get any man you want. The thing is, I don't want any man I can see. There's a standard that I have in myself that I expect out of the men that I want to entertain as well. So even now, I'm gonna be very honest. I don't want what we consider that high value man that is the P. Diddy's, because their life don't seem glamorous to me. They're getting cheated on every 2 seconds. They're getting drug out in these streets or made to look like fools. I want a man that has ambition, a man that when I meet him, he's like, I'm doing this. I have this going on. This is what I care about. I know who I am as a man. That's important to me because I left a relationship where he didn't know. And how can a man lead me if he doesn't know where he's going? So for me, there's a place for Black women for us to be in our feminine energy and to be Black women. But men, a lot of Black men, from what I've seen, haven't taken their rightful position to lead us because they are struggling with leading themselves. So, all of the young women on this call, I have to say, be ambitious, go after your dreams, do what makes you happy. Don't be afraid to be smart. Lead with those things. And when that right man comes along, don't settle. And for our Black men, don't settle for anything that walks, anything that has the biggest ass, the biggest titties. Settle for a woman that's going to have your back, that's going to support you and challenge you to be better than you didn't even think you could be. Your woman is not just there to hold you down, but your women are also there to lift you up, men. Stop settling for women that don't have substance, that can sustain you and pray you through.
You came through with the word, sis. I'm so glad you're able to get through.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, you're saying some real stuff. And I think that's really why a lot of these relationships end. It's not even so much that the person is good or bad. You start to outgrow people. And I think that's where a lot of those hurt feelings are coming from people when these conversations are had. Because then you have to be kind of, you got to kind of look at yourself in the mirror and you're thinking to yourself, well, does my girl think that I'm not where I need to be? Well, if you're not where you need to be. And vice versa, women too, so if you know that you can do better and keep yourself up and take care of yourself better, lose weight, get in shape, but you're just not doing it, then, I see why people get offensive. They go on the offense instead of just trying to fix what's going on internally or trying to better themselves. So no, you made some just really, really good points.
And it's women like you, T, you've always shared your journey as well. And I think, like I said, I would never speak down on my ex. He's an amazing man. He just didn't know where he was going. And it was hard for me to leave him, and there's times that I regret, oh my God, I gave my 20s away to a man that we didn't make it, right? And it's one of those things I have to accept and own it and appreciate what I've learned and what he's learned. And we're the best of friends now. But now I really know who I am and what I deserve and what I want, and also what I can give to a man. So, and he's now that I'm no longer in his life, he's now leveling up because now he knows, okay, I have to do this on my own now. I don't have Sierra as a crutch. I have to figure it out for the next person because although I was a good person, I provided, I made sure she was taken care of. I've never been called out of my name. We didn't argue. We had a good relationship, but there was, again, no ambition. And now he knows with me walking away, that it's time for him to do better for the next woman that comes in his life.
Right. Well, thank you so much once again, Sierra, for calling in. It was good talking to you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. She made some excellent points. Let me go ahead and read some of the super chats. We got a lot coming in here. Let's see. Okay. Beatface Danny Senpai says, as a Black woman, I am sick and tired of us Black women making a soft life for our Black men. As Black women in today's society, we should strive for greatness. Thank you so much, Beatface. I appreciate you. G12 sent $2, says, even my 21-year-old son agrees with her. Okay. Nico Dallas sent $4.99, says, bonjour, this look is stunning. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Y'all know I speak a little bit of French, but thank you. Static Shock Nini sent 10, says, hey T, can you shout out my son Caleb? We are at the Children's Hospital in DC due to complications from appendix. Shout out to Caleb. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Let's see here. This is Nidra. Says, hey T, you look amazing. Today's my birthday. Thank you for blessing us with your beauty. Happy birthday. Thank you so much for coming to the stream today. Gracious Greatness sent 20, says, DJ Ebony KW changed the goalposts. First video, I've dated a whole spectrum, races and ages. Second video, I'm here to empower the Black community. Ebony is the constant in all of this. Apparently she's been with different types of men. So you're saying that basically what she said with Iyanla Vanzant, that once she got to the Breakfast Club, she moved the goalposts and tried to make it about the community instead of it being about the bus driver and her comments. So I saw some people pointing that out as well. So thank you so much. Stacy says Black men are really in their feelings. I'm with Ebony. 484 Malay says, why are we the only race that shames each other for wanting to do and be better? That makes a lot of sense. Brian says, that bus service that bad, sir. Oh, you must be talking about the man that called in. Ki says, a hit dog will holla. Latino boy says, and there it is, these are the C's and D's Black men of the community. They're hurt and in their feelings because they are living in their mediocrity. So a wide range of conversations here. Sasha sent $2, says you are the GOAT for having this open conversation. Thank you so much. And I appreciate everybody for being here. Make sure y'all hit the like button too. If you guys are enjoying this, please hit the like button. Toffee Tastic says, meanwhile, if the bus driver dogged her out, they're telling her she should have chose better. Ebony is choosing better. That is true. People will say that once a woman is, supposedly dating down and the man cheats and does all types of stuff, then they say, well, she should have chose better. She should have chose a better baby daddy and all that stuff. So that is true. I've heard that. Sai-Jen says, Iyanla set Ebony up with that bus driver question. She knows women lawyers are equivalent. Do not date bus drivers. She dodged Ebony's valid question and set her up to get dragged, in my opinion. Okay, thank you for that. Queen says, being average is not a crime, but stunting your growth to meet someone at their level is wild. We should reach for the stars. We deserve it. I like that. Yeah, you should never dumb yourself down to appease anybody, because like I always say, we only have one life to live. And are you going to live it trying to appease everybody else in their opinions, or are you going to go for what you know? So thank you for that. Chelsea has sent $50. Thank you so much. She says, there's going to be a lot of questions asked. Expectations of average girls is not allowed to ask and expect. Thank you so much. Latino boy sent another 10, says Black men don't want to be challenged. That is why they don't want Black women setting higher standards and expectations, because most Black men cannot meet them, and they cannot meet said standards and expectations. All right. Okay, Joanna, if you want to call, I already put the link like 50 times in the chat. Just click the link. Let me see here. Faye, you're on the line. Go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hey T, oh my gosh, I love you, girl. This is your African sister. What's up?
What's up? So what do you think about the conversation so far?
Well, I feel like this is a American problem, because in Africa, like the women, we are taught to aim high, especially in men, because a lot of times the men are the providers. And especially like if you are educated and you are the breadwinner for your family as a female, your family will frown upon you bringing a bus driver. Like, let's just be honest. And no one in Africa is really going to tell a woman who worked hard to get herself out of poverty with the help of no one. Like, let's mention that, because Ebony said she worked hard to get out of poverty, and she didn't have any help, not from a man, not from her family. She did it by herself. I don't know why people expect Black women to always be build a man. Like, we are supposed to build a man. I'm going to share like a vulnerable story. So I am a college graduate. I went to college, got my degree, and I am very proud. I am proud of my accomplishments. I dated a guy who only has a high school diploma, trying to be humble and date. This man treated me like crap. Every time, like he got the chance to knock me down, he would, because he didn't feel confident within himself. And people try to make it seem like, oh, when a man has money, he's going to cheat. Well, broke men are the worst men to date, because they have more hate because they're not financially where they want to be. So you are just going to be so miserable. Like he was, and I felt like he was using me because, you know, like every little thing he's asking me for this, he's asking me for that. And, you know, at some point you get fed up with it because you're like, okay, I'm looking for a partner. I'm not looking for a son. And there's no way I'm going to respect a man that I'm providing for or I'm making more money for you. It's just like as a woman, naturally, we can never submit to a man where we're making more money than him, especially if you are a millionaire and you are dating a man who's making 200K to 100K. You cannot compare those two income. It's not in the same tax bracket. You know, there's nothing wrong with being like average, but it's really insulting to tell this lady who worked her way out of poverty without the help of a man to go and pick up a bus driver. There's nothing wrong with being a bus driver, but nobody grows up and say, I want to become a bus driver. That's not the first thing as a kid you tell your son, oh, that's what you know you should want to be, especially black males. A lot of them want to be football players. They want to be lawyers. They want to be, you know, like an athlete. They want to be something more substantial to society. So, and there's nothing wrong with being a bus driver, but it's really insulting to tell a lawyer to go and date a bus driver. They're not the same. This lady is basically going to be taking care of him. There's no way this man's income could be equivalent to her income. It's not the same. There's no way, you
Right.
know? So I feel like only in America where they belittle their women and make their women to be build the bear, because in Africa, especially when you are a woman and you are the breadwinner of your family, like your entire family are poor and you got yourself out of poverty and your family is depending on you, they are not going to be happy with you bringing a man who is not of your class to help you to like increase your family class. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you see it all the time, even like in the Asian community, the Latino community. They encourage their daughters to date up. Like I said, even when Didi got that Asian girl pregnant, I said, trust me, nobody in her community is calling her a baby mama, a gold digger, a slut. They're like, good job. You came up, you know? And it's
Mm-hmm.
only us that will get mad and say, like, when what's her name, Young Miami first got with him, a lot of people were upset. And it's like, as long as she knows what it is, why is it wrong if that's who she wants to be with for the time being and date up? Like nobody says that
Exactly.
when he parades with women of other races. And a lot of women of other races, that's not what they're going for. They're not, their first thought is not to go for average. Nothing wrong
Exactly.
with average, but especially if you're an attractive woman, that's not their first thought. They're going to use their body, their attractiveness to get the best of the best. And that's just what it is.
And I think society tried to make it seem like if a woman is of a particular age and she does not have a man, so that means she is not accomplished. Like a man does not define you. Having children does not define you. And then another thing, if a woman gets married or even have kids, you know, maybe she has kids like when she was younger and she had a kid like with the wrong person and she's a single mom, then they bash you. Oh, you're a single mom. You maybe have two baby daddies. You maybe have one, three, whatever, however many, the woman has.
Mhm.
And they will like talk down upon her. But I know so many Caucasian women, like my best friend, she has three baby daddies and she is married to the best man ever. This man
Right, because
adopted all
they
three.
don't get the same stigma that we get. And that's what I was saying. Look at Teresa Giudice on the Real Housewives of New Jersey, right? She has a whole criminal record. She had four daughters, went through a divorce. Not one person called her daughters baggage, called them bastards, and she ended up marrying another millionaire. So
Mhm.
even with the Kardashians, nobody calls them baby mamas. None of these women besides Kim were married to their children's fathers. So it's like they don't get the same stigma, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it is our mentality. Like a lot of us, especially I notice blacks in America, have really allowed like the whites mentality to like stick in their mind and make them believe the negative stereotypes, you know, that they had from like slavery and stuff like installed in their mind, you know, because I mean, don't get me wrong, in Africa, we still have negative stereotype because having more than one baby dads, it is frowned upon. However, you know, it's not really popular there. Of course, there's women, you know, who has more than one baby daddy, but it's not like the ideal thing to do. Um, but you don't really see people back home like trying to tell people like, oh, because you are a single mom, so you're not going to, you know, like be able to go back to school. I mean, back then they did, but now they are starting to understand that women are valuable, you know, because men, they get married, they abandon the family, and then they go on and start their family. So they are starting to see like the value of their daughters, you know. So I feel like in America, a lot of the blacks in America, they have really allowed what the whites to, you know, like their negative stereotypes to like believe it, especially the black men. I mean, for me, I would love to, you know, be with a black man. Unfortunately, a lot of black men, especially when they are educated, like where I live, there's a lot of black men, but most of them are married to white women. And a lot of them, unless you are like this black woman where you have big breasts, big boobs, like, or big, you know, like big butt, you know, you're like just out there, they don't want to really talk to you, you know. So when they are accomplished,
All
they
right,
don't
we're gonna
really
take
date.
more calls. You're over the
Okay.
5 minute mark, but thank you
I'm
so
so
much for
sorry.
calling in. No, you're good. You made a lot
Thank
of good
you.
points. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I see men in the chat crying. Again, call in. If y'all are disagreeing with what these women are saying, call in. If you're a bus driver and you're upset, call in. This is not, you know, you have to call in and agree with me. These are people stating their own opinions. So some of y'all just got here because there were plenty of men that called in early with their own, you know, opinions. Let me go ahead and let's see here. Oh, Chelsea sent $100. She says, I feel like, hold on. Just disappeared. She says, I feel like dating her means men have to improve themselves and they're used to the average girl who don't ask no questions. Ebony built a legit business. Social media is filled with get rich quick hacks. How is that pillow talk going to go? Yes. I like I said, I just feel like it's a lot of things with the whole what Ebony said, and a lot of it, the people being hurt, is because one, she's attractive. You know, she has herself together, so they can't really go for like the usual digs, like, oh, she's overweight, oh, she's black as hell, oh, she's bald-headed. They can't go for the usual digs. So now just everybody's so hurt. Everybody's just so upset because she won't date a bus driver when again, it is her preference. So let me go ahead and bring on a few more calls here. We're going to go till about 7:30. We're going to go for about another 10 minutes here. I know it's getting late. It's a Friday. Y'all probably trying to go out and go, you know, get y'all's Mac on and stuff at the club or something, honey. Meet y'all some, you know, six-figure ballers, bus drivers, all of that. So let me go. Let me bring on Rambo. Rambo, come on up.
Hey T, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right. So I had this conversation piece and I just want everybody to hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first I want to say that Ebony is, you know, entitled to what she likes. That's her preference. And nobody should be out here trying to tell her otherwise. But however, what else I wanted to say is, as a man, why is it that I feel like women often put a lot of stress on men to constantly work and become more and constantly basically like my bad, I see your face. Just listen. Listen, just listen. Listen. Okay, so I'm saying, like, for example, I'm Generation Z. I'm in my 20s. I'm really young. And I feel like I'm constantly, whenever I want to approach someone, I am dealing with someone, it's always this thing of, well, what are you doing? You need to be striving for more. You need to be striving for more. You need to be doing more. But my thing is, I got a job. I'm always on my feet walking and working for 12 hours. And because we are short staffed, it extends over past that. It had been time, so I've been at work for 15 hours. So all of this talk of you need to strive for more, you need to have more, I'm fucking tired. I don't have time to be fucking sitting in a damn classroom studying and just doing all this extra, like this little side shit. You get what I'm saying? Like, on my off days, it feels as though my body is playing fucking catch up from the bullshit I've been dealing with at work.
I'm not trying to focus on the chat. The chat is wilding out. I don't know if you're reading the chat. Keep going. I'm listening to you, but the chat is just stirring on some other stuff.
No, I'm not saying like that, but I'm just saying it's just a period. Like, I feel like Americans were working, period. It's just like this obsession with we need to constantly be working and trying to strive for more and do more. But I'm saying, and what I felt like Iyanla was saying is, well, what exactly is it that you're asking from a man that a bus driver couldn't get, other than his tax bracket, that a bus driver couldn't give you love-wise?
Mm-hmm. I think, okay, so now let me address you, because you're young, you're in your 20s. And I think where you're feeling that pressure, because when you're in your 20s, you really shouldn't feel an overwhelming amount of pressure. Because again, when I was in my 20s, we had grace to just be young, you know, have a job, work a 9 to 5, you know, go to school if you wanted to. Where your pressure is coming in from is that you guys are growing up in the era of social media, hustle culture. So you got these young girls who are watching these videos of, you know, men making 6 figures, jumping out of Lambos.
And that's what I'm talking about.
And so now they're looking at the average 20-year-old and saying, well, why don't you have what Rice Gum has, or what
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's not average for, you know what I mean? That'd be like no different than saying, why doesn't a 19 or 20-year-old female have what Jada Chavis has, or have what, you know, Ari G Herbo's baby's mother has? Two totally different things, right? So I think I get what you're saying. Like, you're tired. Yeah, he's young, so this is not a 40-year-old. Now, if he was 40 calling in talking about, oh, they want too much from me, I'm gonna have to side eye. But he's in his 20s. We would give the same grace to a young girl who's 20 trying to figure out life as well. So I think that's where you're getting the pressure. And a lot of young people call in all the time when I do my Zoom meetings of feeling burnt out. And I'm like, you're literally 22. But it's like you guys are racing and trying to keep up with social media standards. Okay? And again, what you do right now, why somebody said he's 20 and he's tired. He said he's tired, y'all. He's working.
I mean, yeah, just trying to juggle like bills and a $1,600 like apartment and shit like that. Like, I mean, like, and then dealing with minimum wage jobs. It's just like, you know, shit is hard.
Yeah. No, of course. You know, he's working. He's not living off of, you know, a female. He's working. But I think what you need to also do, right, in your 20s is this is also the time where you guys start trying to figure out a path. I don't expect for anybody between the ages of 19 and 25 to, you know, be at a position that young making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. If you can make that, that's exceptional. That's not average. But what you do in this time is that you start making goals for yourself. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Because your 20s, people feel like your 20s are forever. You will blink and it's over like this, and now you're in your 30s. So what you do is that you start making strides for where you want to be in the future. So maybe, you know, you want to go to college and get that degree. So then at that point, you got to cut back your hours so that way you can balance and, you know, have a school work life balance. Maybe getting a degree is not for you and you want to do more entrepreneurial stuff and, you know, build your own business. Then at that point, you need to really research and figure out what you can do. So take this time, you know, you save money, build your credit. I tell y'all that all the time, especially if you're young. This is the time to do it. You don't want to be trying to start LLCs and start trying to build your credit at 40. You want to do it now, so then by the time you're 30, you're set. You may not be, you know, making $100,000 a year by the time you're 30, but if your credit is on point, you can get that house. You can start building that equity. You can start doing other things. So I get it. I get like a lot of young people are burnt out, but a lot of y'all are putting undue stress on yourselves. The only thing you really should be like worrying about in your 20s, you know what I'm saying? getting a job, you know, working what you can, going to school, building your credit, trying to learn as much as you can. Because these are the times that you learn and you bump your head. So that way you're not doing everything in your 20s in your 40s.
Right.
You know, so when you become more of an adult, you start doing adult things. Your frontal lobe isn't even all the way developed yet. So we got to give him the same grace we would if this was a woman call, if this was a young girl calling in. You know, I've seen people throwing tomatoes, but this is a young man saying, you know, I'm 20, I'm trying to work, I'm trying to, you know, keep up with hustle culture, but I'm tired. And you're human. Remember that, you know, you're a human being as well. Give yourself those breaks.
Yeah, and I also feel like we don't have a lot of people who are my age having these kind of conversations and discussions. So I want to appreciate people like you who are educating us and not just, you know, simply throwing tomatoes and saying we'll do better and shit like that.
Yeah. Because like I said, I deal with people from all age spectrums. You know, when I got 28-year-olds calling in, literally crying on Zoom meetings because they think their life is over because they haven't hit some type of goal, and 30's around the corner, that's disturbing to my spirit. Because I wasn't where I'm at 28. So why would I put that expectation on someone? That's what I was saying. People are not looking at this with Eboni in nuanced contexts. Like I said at the beginning of this stream, if Eboni was a 25-year-old and she's demanding a 6-figure man, she's 25 and she's saying, I won't date no bus driver. You're 25. You haven't lived life yet. You're not even making 6 figures at 25. So how dare you put your nose up at the bus driver, right? Eboni is 40, so she's in a different space in her life than a 20, 22, 23-year-old woman. A 23-year-old woman, you and her can work together to build something. You can do the Build-A-Bear thing in your 20s. I'm in a different space in my life. Ebony's in a different space in her life. I'm not doing the Build-A-Bear workshop at 40. I'm not entertaining it. Once you get to a certain age, there's certain things I expect you to have. Now, if I'm dating younger, I can't expect a 25-year-old to be in the same position as an average 40-year-old man. And I think that's where we're not giving grace when we're having these conversations. We're getting emotionally triggered, but we're not looking at the nuances. Yeah. So don't feel bad. Anybody who's telling you that they had it all together at your age, they're full of shit. Because I didn't have it all together. And I also had a child.
Yes, ma'am.
I was still trying to figure out life. Me and my oldest son, we were raising each other. You know what I'm saying? He learned as I'm learning because I was so young. And there are things he still teaches me to this day. And so it's just like, don't let people make you feel bad about your journey thus far. Because like I tell y'all all the time, you're not dead at 30. And we need to stop acting like life is over when somebody hits 30. There's so much more life to live. You have people right now who did not wake up. You're still here to see another day. So what you do is you challenge yourself to do better and you set goals for yourself. And don't forget to pat yourself on the back, reward yourself, because nobody else is going to give you that positive affirmation like you can give yourself. So when you hit those milestones, you tell yourself, job well done. When those other people called out and you decide to take on their shift, even though you're tired, praise yourself for that. Because we need people like you. If we didn't have, everybody can't be Beyonce. Everybody can't be Lovelyti. Everybody can't be Eboni. Everybody can't be DJ Envy. We all have our own path. So it's okay if you're the fry cook for the time being. But if you don't want to be the fry cook at 40, then you start working on goals to get yourself. So by the time you are 40, you own that franchise. And you're, you know, each one teach one. And now you're helping out that 20-year-old kid who's confused and trying to figure out life.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So don't let the people in the chat nobody had themselves together at that age. And that's what I'm saying. We have to look at the nuances and we have to give people grace for where they're at. And so many times we don't want to give young men the same grace that we give young women. At the end of the day, they're young people. Now, if he called in at 45, like, ooh, you know, I've been doing this, you know, burger flipping job for 20 years, then I'm a side eye you because it's like, well, did you not want to do anything else besides that? No. And if that's what you didn't want to do, then that's fine too. That's your business. But at 40, and the only thing you've done is work a McDonald's grill, You can't step to me. I'm not interested in that. That's not where I'm at in my life, right? So then you have to understand that as well, that I have certain expectations because of the space I'm in my life. And that's how I feel for Eboni. Just like with men who make six figures. I can't get mad if a man who makes six figures feels like, well, you know, you're about my age, you know, you got 2 kids. I want to date a 30-year-old with no kids. Okay, that is his prerogative. At the end of the day, you can only date one person at a time. So why is everybody really mad? A lot of this anger is emotional bullshit. It's people who are mad, they're upset, they're not where they want to be, so they're on the internet projecting. And what we have to start doing as adults, as people 35 and up, people in our 40s and 50s, we have to do better, because what are we teaching him and the other young girl that called in? What are we showing them? When the adults are fighting and bickering and getting emotional, and you got these young kids, you know, their whole thing is hustle culture and I got to be a boss. The average person does not become a boss or an entrepreneur or make 6 figures well until they are in their 40s. You guys are comparing yourself to people who have a 20, 30-year head race, who grew up in a time that you weren't even thought of. I had a young girl upset in my comments when I was showing, you know, them, you know, like my new home that I'm building. And I was explaining, like, you know, I first bought my first house at 23. She's like, well, I'm 23. I want to know how I can get a house. You're not even living in the time that I was in when I was 23. The economy was better. I had good credit. Things were so much easier. We don't even know what's going to happen 6 months from now. So again, you have to walk your own path and your own journey. Celebrate yourself. Make goals for yourself. And if you don't want to be in this position, start doing little things now. So by the time you get into your 30s and 40s, you set yourself up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope that motivated you. I thank you for calling in. And I appreciate it. I love when young people call in, because we have to have these discussions with them.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for hearing me out and understanding. Not hit me with tomatoes like everybody else in the comment section.
No, you're more than welcome. Thank you so much for just calling in and just, you know, being vulnerable enough to share your story, because you're not alone. So trust me, what you said tonight, there's a lot of people who feel the same way, but they're not humble enough to share that. So they rather have emotional tantrums. So thank you for just being so open and honest.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, T.
Okay, bye. All right, I'm sorry. I was just over here preaching. Like, you know, like I said, we have to encourage the young people. This is the next generation. And, you know, so easy to be dismissive and tear him down. But that could be somebody's future husband. You know what I'm saying? He's still young. So let's give these young folks, you know, growth. People say, you know, I'm a boy's mom. I am a boy's mom. But again, that also went for the 19-year-old girl that called in earlier. She's young enough to be my daughter. So I want to see young people be in a space where they're not in competition with people on social media. We all have our own journeys. We all have our own races to run. So I just hope that helped a lot of young people out, because I don't want people in their early 20s comparing themselves to people who are twice their age. You're nowhere near there. And if you can get there, a lot of it is by luck and happenstance. That's not the average 20-year-old's journey. Let's keep that real. So let me go ahead, take on 2 more calls. Let me bring on Marquis. You're on the line.
Hey y'all, I'm nervous.
Hey Marquis.
How you doing, sis?
I'm good. This has been a really good conversation.
It has. It has. There's so many different points I want to touch on. First, the 22. I'm not going the 20-year-old. I'm not going to go in on you, but just a word of advice would be to find something that you love to do. People have told me that all my life growing up, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's fine, but I actually took that as one, God has put everything that we need in us to survive. Every survival tactic, from physical strengths to smarts, whatever, to talent, to all of that. So use your strengths that you have, your talents that you have, to make money to survive. That's number one. And number two, you're gonna be working. It's not that people are expecting you to be the president or to be someone famous, but they want to know, are you capable of being the best you can be in life? And I don't take that as they're pressuring you to be someone you're not. They just want you to go out there in life and do the best you can, because that's what they're going to be doing as well. And let's go into something else as far as being equally yoked, and God don't bless no mess. As far as this whole Ebony situation, right? Um, when you are growing in life, you want your partner to also grow with you. I know some people, like for me, instance, I don't have a problem with starting with somebody who don't have nothing. Both of us don't have nothing. We at the bottom, now we here. That's kind of where I'm at with it, right? So in my train of thought is, um even with the equally yoked, things that that I don't have strength in, I don't have patience. He has patience. I might have the gift of gab or the gift of selling. He doesn't have that. So we work off each other to take a ladder and take a step, and we're building together, um, to be able in whatever we're doing. We're gonna end up making money together. For instance, I've been with my situation for 10 years. We literally started from the bottom, didn't know what the next meal was going to be. In the past year, I can say, even with my accident, we haven't had to worry about anything. No money. Money has constantly flowed, and by the grace of God. But it's for the simple fact that we kept pushing each other. I went to school first. I finished school. After I was done with school, he's in school. He's almost done with school. So it's about encouraging. So I don't see what Ebony said is wrong, because of the fact that she is a lawyer. She wants someone in her caliber that the conversation is going to be different. Period. The conversation with a bus driver about bus routes, and she's talking about whatever, she can't talk about her case, but whatever's going in whatever politics of the lawyer world. The conversation at hand is different. And I want to challenge the Black community. Can we stop talking about what they have as far as possession, as far as financial? What do you have intellectually? What are you giving to me that is going to help me grow for life? How are you going to invest in me, and how am I going to invest in you for life? We need to get out of the conversation of always what you doing for work. Yes, these men need a job. Yes, we need to bring that back of men wanting to work and wanting more for themselves. Because a lot of times from the 80s and 90s, they were always saying, I don't know if I'm gonna make it past 22. Now they are making it past 22, and they don't know what to do with themselves. They stuck because they never planned on living past 22. So it's a lot. I feel like we just need to be equally yoked. God don't bless no mess, meaning you can't be up here and be with somebody down there. It's just not gonna work. You have to actually be on somewhat of a same level and push each other up.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in, Marquis.
You're welcome. Love you, sis. Talk to y'all later.
Me too. Bye. Again, everybody's situation is different and how they see stuff. I think age plays a big part in it. It depends on where you're at in the age spectrum. Like I said, I think when you're in your early 20s, it's cute. Y'all can build together. Y'all are both trying to figure out life. I'm not doing that at my big age, and neither is Ebony. So I think we all gotta, realize where people are at as far as their ages, But yeah, if you're, you start off with somebody in your 20s and y'all help each other and encourage each other and build, that is a beautiful thing. But once people are in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, that conversation is totally different. So let's see here. Let me go ahead and bring on let's see, Bree. Oh, we can't hear you. Unmute your microphone.
Hey T, can you hear me?
Hi. Yep, I can hear you now. How are you?
Hey, I just gotta say I love you. Oh my God. So
Love
happy
you
to
too.
talk
Thank
to
you for
you.
calling in.
Yeah. So my perspective on it is I do primarily agree with what Ebony says, but I agree from the perspective of you do have to be with the person who, like everyone keeps saying, equally yoked, because sometimes there's even jealousy and sabotage with your partner.
Mm.
If they don't have what you have, or they perceive you even elevating past what you all started with together. And that's something that I went through with the ex, and they even admitted to kind of sabotaging where they saw I was growing,
Mm-hmm.
and they felt like they were kind of stuck, or they weren't where I was at that point in time. And you don't think about that as males being jealous of a female or jealous of their partner, but that is something that happens as well. So I can understand kind of at least wanting to find somebody you feel like you're equal with on that level, you know. And again, the bigger thing is like when a female starts making more than a male in our society, whatever toxic masculinity you want to call it, it is perceived that you're less than as a man if you're, you know, not on the same level as your woman a lot of times. So even though a lot of guys are complaining like, oh, she went and dated a bus driver, but then would you feel comfortable dating her if you were the bus driver that was making less than her? Or would there be a factor of jealousy, a factor of even possible sabotage, and it still wouldn't work just because you felt emasculated?
Yeah,
Not
and that
necessarily
is,
that she's trying to
I'm
emasculate.
glad you brought up that angle. That's a different angle, and I'm glad you brought that up. But that is very true, and it happens in relationships, especially when you start growing and wanting better for yourself, and that person just really doesn't have any aspirations to grow or change. Then there is like a sabotage, and it may not even be anything like, you know, a physical. It's a mental. Or every time you have an idea or you want to ask their opinion, it's a downing. It's a, you know, you'll never be that, you'll never do this, it's a waste of time. Oh, I could tell you personal stories, child, but we're not going to go there tonight.
Right. No,
Yeah,
that's
it's
and
very true. And then with some women, you also have to be careful because it can cause where some people in relationships, they get emotionally, mentally violent. You know, it can end up turning into abuse. Like when I met you, you know, all you did was just go to work at your customer service job and come home. And now you want to grow. Now you want to start your own clothing store. Now
Right.
you're always gone. I think you're sleeping with other people when they're really meeting with clients because now they want to get their realtor license. And now, you know, you're being accused of stuff. And it's like, no, I'm trying to better myself. I don't want to be in this same position 10 years from now. So,
Right.
yeah, so that's a conversation that a lot of people don't want to have. And it also happens to men too.
Yeah.
You know, where women can get jealous because now as a man, you're elevating, you're finding your worth. You know what I'm saying? You want to be that beacon of light. You want to be the head of the household. But now she feels like, no, when I met you, you know, you was a bum.
They're struggling together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were my Build-A-Bear, and now you're trying to surpass me, and then it can mess with her insecurities, where now she's putting hands on you and doing all types of crazy stuff. So, yeah.
And you have to be careful of that because then that can hold you back from your greatest potential too.
Mm-hmm. I call them energy vampires, and they come in both sexes. And one thing which you will realize is once that person is out of your life, the person that was bringing you down, talking down to you, telling you never amount to anything, nobody will buy anything, nobody's gonna, you know, pay you any mind. Who are you? Who do you think you are? Once you finally get enough strength to get that person out of your life, you will see how so many blessings will come pouring in. Because sometimes it's not you who are the bad luck magnet. Sometimes it's the people that you have around you. Sometimes you are sleeping with the person who is blocking your blessings. Right. Can I get an amen?
Amen. I hear you,
both men and women. So that's a very real thing. It's a very real thing.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you for having me. That was just my other little
I love it. I don't know why StreamYard. Oh, there you go. It like booted you or something.
I was just saying thank you so much for like letting me come up. I just wanted to throw in an extra little perspective there. That's all.
Yeah, no, I love it. Thank you so much for calling in. It was good talking to you.
Good talking to you, T. Bye.
Bye. Okay, let's see here. Oh, we got a guy calling in. All right, Marcellus, come on down.
Hey, T. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
I'm doing good, T. I said, nice to talk to you finally. I've been watching you
That,
for years.
thank you.
All
So what do
right.
you think
So
about all of this from a man's perspective?
honestly, everything. Sorry, let's start sometimes. Everything Ebony said was absolutely correct, and I agree with her. I remember going through my own life, and I messed up in my 20s, and I said, you know, I never really saw the potential that I had until I got older. And it wasn't until I was about 28 and I was like, man, I really need to step myself up. I realized that the rejections through dating, I wasn't really getting nowhere. I'm like, because they saw what I was doing. And I guess I failed to see what they saw. They saw that I wasn't doing nothing with my life. And I said, you know what? Let me step 33 now and I'm a physical therapist, and now I make good money now and I'm starting to see.
Oh, your phone is breaking up. It's like going in and out.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Okay, that's better.
There we go. Now, here's the problem that I'm having. Now, keep in mind, T, I wasn't always sought after in my 20s. So now that I'm in my 30s, I'm 33 now, I make good money now. And it's like, I go on dates and it feels like the first thing you get asked is, how much do you make? What do you do? And it's like, how much more self-improvement does one man need to do? It's like, listen, I've done the work, but I feel like they don't see the work that I put in.
Right. And so do you feel like even with what you do, right, you're doing physical therapy, you got your degree, you're making good money. So do you feel like even for some women, they have an attitude like even that's not enough?
Yes, it's almost like when we compare the Instagram, I stay within my means. I want to provide for my wife or future wife, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to be something that I'm not. I'm not going to pretend to be something that I'm not. I'm not going to sit there and spend beyond just so on people who don't really care about your lifestyle on Instagram can go ooh and ah. Listen, it's like, listen, I work hard and I do want more down the road. Could I be a millionaire? Could be, but at the end of the day, it's like I can only work as hard as I possibly can.
Right. So now this is what people who are in your position have to do and think. Are you going for the women who actually have integrity, who bring things to the table? Or are you solely going for the women who are just coming with the looks? And there's nothing wrong with that.
Not necessarily looks, Steve, because like I said, I wasn't always as what I am now. I work out 5 days a week. I put time into myself because I said I have to be better as a person. But at the end of the day, it's almost like I feel like the women who I think I match up with, maybe they make way more than I do. And maybe they feel like, okay, he needs to be better than them, because like I said, I was on a date with a doctor the other day. I'm going to assume she makes more than I do. And maybe she based her income off of mine because like I said, I'm not going to lie to you. Straight up, I make $90K a year. And I'm going to assume she makes more. And it's like, okay, do I just have to work harder and harder and harder? Or do I have to do what some people do and date down?
But the cool part though, you're a man. So even if you date down, nobody's going to judge you because a man is considered the provider. So even if you get with the girl, let's say she's just a massage therapist, right? And she makes like 40 grand a year, it's going to be fine, right? It looks good for her because she's dating up. You're so-called dating down, but nobody's ever going to look at you in that light because you're a man. Now, if the roles were reversed and the woman did that, then you hear she dated down. She went to school and got this degree. She should have got with a doctor. So that's the thing that men get away with, is that you're not going to be judged. So even if you feel like these women are acting funny, they're acting gold diggerish, go to where you're celebrated. I say the same thing for men. If these women aren't treating you right and they feel like, hey, I don't want a thousandaire, I want a millionaire. Well, that's fine. Let her go chase that. If she can get it, bless her. Go where you're celebrated. If the doctors are looking down on you because you're not making $150K a year and you're only making 90, well, then maybe look at the massage therapist, because that's the blessing of being a man. No one's going to judge you. You could get with a babysitter. Nobody's going to judge you.
I said, absolutely agree. And I just want to just say to the chat, listen, give some people some grace in this chat. Listen, especially to that little 20-year-old man. I'm like, listen, not everybody has a mentors like that. And all of us at one point, we're kind of lost in life too. It's like sitting there throwing tomatoes and clowning this guy for just being like some of us were when we were 19 and 20 years old. Listen, not everybody has things together. Some people blossom late. Some people wake up late in life and realize, hey, I'm 28 years old. I haven't done nothing with my life. Okay, let me better myself. Listen, we've all been there.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And, that's the thing. It's like people only know what they know. And everybody has a backstory, right?
Yes.
Like I was telling the girl that called into the meeting the other day, she was, crying. She was upset. She felt like at 28, her parents didn't teach her a lot of the things that she should have been taught, that she had to kind of figure out and go through life. And I've been through that, even with my parents. But like I always say, your parents only know what they know. A lot of our parents didn't grow up knowing credit, knowing about finance, knowing about money. So we weren't taught this, and we had to slowly learn all this stuff as we got older. Whereas white kids, a lot of their parents, they knew that. So they were starting off, in a position a little bit better in life. So that's the thing. We don't know everybody's background. And, if that young man has a mom who sits and talks to him and gives him advice, some people don't have that. Some people don't even have parents who are alive. So this is why we have these meetings and these call-in shows. We can, drop gems and just, try and help each other as a community. Because I think on the entire spectrum, right, men and women, young and old, even black and white, everybody just wants to be happy. That's what, when everything boils down to it, we want to find a partner in life that makes us happy, that we can grow old with. I think that's what this all boils down to, even with Eboni K. Williams.
Exactly, T. Anyway, I don't want to hold up all the time, T. I love you to death. And
love you too.
I'll see myself out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for calling in. All right, let's see here. Okay, we got another guy calling in. All right, Nitty.
Hello.
Okay, how are you? Can you turn down the background?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Good.
We love you, T.
Love you guys too. This has been an awesome chat.
Alabama. Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
You said you're from Alabama?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I had 2 points that I wanted to make. Okay, now the first point is we date people so that we can find out about them. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we prejudge somebody based on their occupation as to whether or not they are suitable for us, then how do you know if that person is the man of your dreams or not, or the person of your dream? But then you completely overlook all that because they're not in life where you think they should be. Because there is a thing that's potential, and okay, this lady that we're talking about, she's a millionaire. She has the opportunity to change somebody's life. You know what I'm saying? Now this bus driver could be in the same position she's at if he has the potential and he just ain't figured it out yet. So she could help him get there. You know what I'm saying? But how would she know if this person has the potential or not to be better than what he is if she never gives him an opportunity?
The chat is already going in. Okay, this is what they're saying in the chat. I see what you're saying. But again, okay, we get potential. But where she's at, she's a millionaire.
Right.
So your potential, can you, afford to let's go for a whole month and just sit out in Turks and Caicos on the beach with your potential?
No. What I'm saying is this. Okay.
Okay.
She's already there. Somebody helped her get there at some point. You know what I'm saying? People for black men, there is a thing called systematic racism where, you might have you might be a genius and people just don't want to give you an opportunity to shine. You know what I'm saying? Simply because you're black. You know what I'm saying? We are up against a lot of things, but you know this. But what I'm saying is, if she's already in that position, and this could be the guy, because you can't judge somebody's home, how somebody was raised at home, or how their morals are based on their career. You know what I'm saying? Because we always talk about these celebrities and they already got all this money and stuff, but they're pieces of shit. You know what I'm saying? Nobody who. So it depends on what you're looking for, and if you are willing to be a help. You know what I'm saying? Or do you just want a self-made millionaire? Or, you know what I'm saying? And that's all you want? Or do you want to take the time to help somebody get to where they're trying to be? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so now let me ask you this.
Okay.
Is there something wrong with somebody who just says, no, I don't want to do a whole Build-A-Bear. I don't want to help you seek your
Nothing
potential.
wrong with that at all either.
A self-made millionaire, and that's it.
But what I'm saying is, if we're supposed to be looking for love,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? You can, if you judging it by somebody's occupation, whether or not this person is able to love you, you know what I'm saying? Like, this might be the man you've been looking for your whole life. He just ain't got the occupation that you would want him to have. But she has millions of dollars. She can build a business for somebody to run. You know what I'm saying? Like, this man might, like, okay, she said if he owned the truck, she could buy him a truck, a bus. You know what I'm saying? And he could run it and maybe make millions off of doing so. You know what I'm saying? Because he can do that. But he just ain't, maybe he just don't know how to run a business. But
let me ask you this. Okay, so I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So let me ask you this, right? So now you're saying that she's able to, look past all that, him just driving the bus, she could help him, start his own bus company because she's rich. Right. So in the same breath, when men say, I don't want a woman who is overweight, who doesn't take care of her physique. Because, if you're a man and you work out, 3 times a week, you got a nice body. How come that same mentality doesn't go, well, why don't you date the fat girl and, get her on a diet, take her to the gym, work out, help her lose weight?
I would do that. You see, because I'm not that fickle of a person, you know what I'm saying? I'm a mature person now, you know what I'm saying? Okay. And I know myself, I'm not like I was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I might have been looking for that in a person, you know what I'm saying? How they look might have been very important to me. But now, as I got older, how a person treats me is more important to me, you know what I'm saying? And if I can find love in a fat girl, just like I can find love in a baddie, you know what I'm saying? And most bad girls might not treat you that nice. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? I done been there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at that. I try to look at how a person is on the inside versus the outside more now. And if I was a millionaire and I was dating a girl that hadn't got there yet, I wouldn't have a problem investing in her and bringing her
as a man, though, that's cool. Think about how many rich men will get, just a really pretty girl. She's young. They'll start a nail shop for her.
Right.
They're doing nails. But it's cool when a man does that because men naturally are supposed to be providers. But when a woman does it, it's like it's a double-edged sword for us because, again, okay, she helps this man start a bus company. Then everybody's saying you dated down, you wasted your potential, you could have got yourself a millionaire. I would never. So it's almost like, unfortunately for Black women, it really is a double-edged sword because men, they can date down. You can get a young girl who's pretty and stick her nail, buy her a nail shop and have her be a nail tech. But when a woman does it, it's like you're a loser, you're a pick-me, you're a mammy. You get what I'm saying?
I don't think so though. You know what I'm saying? Because if a woman helped her man become a better man, kudos to her. You know what I'm saying? That's what we all supposed to do in a relationship anyway, is build each other up. You know what I'm saying? Like, she could get with a millionaire and then he could fuck up her money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or she could fuck up his money. Or they could build together. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's supposed to be trying to build together. It's kind of selfish to be like, I'm not going to give a person a chance based on certain things. But then again, you have to have standards too. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, all this stuff about money and all that stuff is not really as important as morals and conduct. You know what I'm saying? Because you can have a female, okay, like a P. Diddy's girl. She got millions of dollars, but she says she like people to pee on her. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
I don't care about how much money she got. I wouldn't date her because she said she want people to pee on her. You see what I'm saying? So what if she goes out and gets a millionaire and he want her to pee on him? Then she like, damn, I should have stuck with the bus driver. At least he had sense. He didn't want to do nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? She might want to go out and get this millionaire that want to have threesomes all the time and have an open relationship and all that type of stuff. Like just having a good occupation and stuff ain't always gonna make you happy because millionaires get divorced all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they're married to other millionaires. You know what I'm saying?
I love
Like,
this conversation. Like I said, I want to hear all perspectives, you know. But I mean, I will say this.
Mariah Carey broke up with Nick Cannon and started fucking her dancer. You know what I'm saying? Like, did she date down? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody looked down upon her for doing so, but she was doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it all depends to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might get a millionaire and then find out he's a heroin addict. How long he gonna be a millionaire? You know what I'm saying? He might be hooked on fentanyl. They doing that now.
So y'all really want her to just give the average man a chance, basically.
Yes, I mean everybody deserves integrity.
Ebony's beautiful.
Yeah.
So do you think a lot of men? So let me ask you: do you think a lot of men are salty because she's actually really beautiful, and now she's kind of crushed their dreams because she's like, I'm not checking for that.
They should understand where she's coming from too, but then she should have an open mind as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I understand it. I understand this is what you want from a man. But are you willing to help that man to get there to do that if you can? You know what I'm saying? Or do you just want him to come in and do everything for you? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I myself, I would be willing to help a person that I love get where they want to be in life. Because I can say, I help them do that. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna make them love me that much more. It should anyway. And if they don't appreciate it, then we know that's not the person for us, right?
Right. Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for calling in. It was very good talking to you.
It was very good talking to you too. We love you, T.
All right, love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, he made his points. I mean, you know, some people agree, some people don't, but you know, he made his points. You know, and even like Marquis said earlier, some people want to work with somebody and build them up and you know, stuff like that, and other people are unwilling to do the Build-A-Bear thing. So it just really depends on where you're at in life and what you're willing to do and put up with. So, you know, to each his own. But this child, this comment section, y'all are a mess. Okay, let me go ahead and bring on, let me see here, Lexi. I'm going to add you to the stream.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Great. First of all, before I start, the comment about like people coming at your natural hair, please don't listen to them. I would love to see like, you know, because I remember seeing your natural hair was so beautiful. I can't believe people came for that. They're haters. Like, it makes no sense. I think people just want to hate on black hair altogether. But I'm a little nervous, so bear with me.
Don't be.
What Iyanla reminded me of is the relationship in between black mothers and black daughters, and how black mothers would make all these mistakes in their youth, and then they would want to sit back and watch their black daughters make the exact same mistakes. And for some reason, I mean, I'm Central African, I'm Cameroonian. Even in Central African culture, it is so like you would have a lot of black mothers who feel like they have been punished when they were young because they had to carry the world on their backs. And now they want their daughters to suffer just as much. So this whole, oh, would you date a bus driver? I didn't see it just as a question. I saw it more as Iyanla trying to get younger women to make the same mistakes that she made because she had 3 divorces. Like, lady, what happened with your 3 ex-husbands? Right? I mean, I want to know. Like,
divorces.
She had 3 divorces. Yeah. It's like, I really want to know what's going on. And then you have people like Mary J. Blige, And even in the white community, you have Kelly Clarkson, whose husband is also, getting alimony from her, and he doesn't even have full custody of your kid. So it's
Not
not just
Kelly Clarkson with a Dusty.
yeah. She dated a man who I think he was the son of like Kelly Ripa, like another country singer,
Okay.
and both of them left their wives, and they're getting alimony. So this whole thing about women dating down is very scary, right? Again, I don't mind women doing that, but like the whole holding a man down, a lot of the women before us did that. We saw our mothers going through a whole lot, and we don't want to do that. That's all. Like, it's just very scary. Me personally, I don't mind holding a man. Like, I don't mind supporting it, but I've seen my parents, going through worse. Like, at some point in my parents' marriage, my dad was making all the money, and they were fine. Everything was fine. Communication was fluid. And then at some point, my mom started making more money, and I could see my dad's ego going down, and he would pick unnecessary fights. So to me, there's no way I'm just settle for that. But then what happened with my relationship, that the relationship in between my parents, is that my mom, when she was mad at my dad and stressed out, she took it out on us as her daughters. And it gets to the point where she never sat down and told us about men. It's almost as if she wanted us to make the same mistakes so she would not be miserable alone. And I know that's kind of sick, but I feel like a lot of older Black
But I
women.
said that about older women.
Yeah.
I said that, like, there's like a weird jealousy and a competition, and you
Mhm.
have a lot of people who are delusional and don't understand you are grown. My competition is not a 25-year-old. Get your bag, sis. If the multimillionaire wants to use you as arm candy, that is your grown business. Y'all are two consenting adults. I'm not about to sit here and keep, oh, y'all are fast and y'all are doing too much, and he needs to date women his age. No. And I think that's what some of that is. I think you're right, because like I said, that the framing of the question was very bothersome for me. And it's almost like, why did you answer that question? Because now that question, this whole bus driver thing, is going to be forever tied to another young Black woman's brand. So I get that. You do have older women who are in competition, and instead of guiding their daughters and giving them advice so they don't make the same mistakes that they went through, and find themselves in the same situation, it's almost like they want to sit back and they celebrate in glee when you're going down those same, the same road. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Like, I really, like, when I heard that question, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Like, she's in competition with this young lady, like, well, not young, well, younger than her. And it's like, you've been like, you are the generation of the Black women who did that. They held the men down. The Black community is still where it is. It hasn't paid off. And it's like, it's not working. You know what I mean? These men needs to not be cuddled. And, and this is no disrespect to even the 20-year-old who was just, talking. Like, people are throwing tomatoes. I don't feel like throwing tomatoes. It's tough out here. I'm also in my 20s. So it's hard out here for everybody. I feel the pressure badly, even me. But yeah, there's this thing where, and Black mothers, they will coddle your sons. Like, I remember I bought my own car, but my younger brother had a car at 16, a brand new car. And it's like, it was kind of hurtful for me to see that. But my mom was so tough on me to the point where I moved out early. But my younger brother, he's 21, he still lives there. He's getting cuddled, he eats free, he got free rent, everything. So yeah, a lot of older women.
And that's the thing I never understand, because I went through the same thing, and that's why I go out my way to not coddle my sons. It's like, no, you want something, you have to work for it. You want a car, I'll help, co-sign, but you're going to pay the car note. Like, you have to give boys responsibilities, because at the end of the day, you are raising somebody's husband. And how can you not know how to do the basics as a man? And then we say to girls, well, girls are so masculine and they're so tough and they have this I don't need a man attitude, because the mamas were putting the boys on a pedestal and talking down to the daughters, you're a slut, you're a whore. Meanwhile, the son got a girlfriend that can spend the night. So it's like, that's why a lot of these girls are so hard, because they've had to leave home early and raise themselves and try and figure stuff out. Whereas the boys, they can stay till they're 25. They can have their wives there, the baby mamas. It's insane. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my point, and thank you for having me on. Please, everybody in the chat, also, like, I mean, I would love to see in the future if you want to talk about mother-daughters relationships. I think you only have sons, but yeah, you also, you know, you are a grown woman, so obviously I know you have a mother. So,
Oh
but
yeah,
the
you've been
whole
ups and downs.
the whole mother-daughter relationship, especially in the Black community, is something very stressful. Like a lot of older Black women, we are not helping each other out. So I would really, you know, like to see more people talk about it, because that's to me was what Iyanla was doing. She wasn't really advising anything. She was just basically wanting to make sure that the younger generation of Black women don't do better than her. And that right there kind of hurts me just looking at it. But
That's a good topic. I really like that. So maybe that's something we can look at doing, you know, having that mother-daughter show, because I will tell you, it does, you know, for most people, it does get better. But I mean, you guys know, I've talked about it. I mean, there were times I didn't talk to people in my family, mom, dad, for 5 years straight. I just did not want to be bothered. Just because you're family, that I don't owe you anything, and you're not going to disturb my peace. You know, so sometimes you have to fall back and not deal with even your own family until you can figure out life. And, you know, and then if it's meant to be in a different time and space, it will be. But yeah, these relationships, I just feel, and that's why it's hard for me to get too upset at young people, because again, when you're young, you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of young people are not being taught. They're not like, I feel like people come to me with stuff. I'm like, you should be asking your mom this. Or, you know, why aren't your parent? Like, I feel weird. Like when people are like, you're like a mom to me, you're like an aunt. Like, I feel like I can express myself to you and I can't even express myself to my mom, you know, and there's a lot of that. So yeah, maybe I think that would be a really, really good show. So
okay,
thank
yeah.
you. It's very good talking to you,
Thank
Lexi.
you so much. I'm so glad I came in. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, you did a great job. You made a lot of good points too. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night. All right, you guys. We have been on here for 3 hours. Child, this stream could go on for another 2, but it is, dang, it is 8:24. Oh my gosh. This has been wonderful. I thank you guys for coming here and just spending the past 3 hours. I think the dialogue has been awesome. The chat was off the chain. I'm here for it. It was so much good discussion. Everybody who called in, everyone who sent the super chat, I really appreciate it. I'm going to read a few more super chats before I go. But yeah, this was a good discussion. And even the guys, I'm glad that you guys called in and also stated your opinion, regardless if people agreed or disagreed. That wasn't the point. I wanted to just hear people's perspectives. And I think this is what we need to have. We need to have dialogue like this. So let me just go ahead and read some of these super chats here. Let's see, live from NYC says, whatever your preferences are in your potential mate, if you're not getting results year after year, then there's something wrong with your plans. Most women with Eboni's mentality don't seem to reach their goals in their love life. Ooh. All right. Well, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I appreciate that. Black Girl sent 5 says, you are appreciated and beautiful. Thank you so much. Jesse Adams sent 20 says, I'm not going to lie. Some of y'all in this chat are wilding. Wondering, why are you single, trashing that young 20-year-old man? We just had a video about people feeling less because of Instagram, and he's trying to figure out life. Yes, I agree. Thank you so much for the super chat. Solomon Muse sent 5 says, T, you got me in tears. Wow. I seen a few people say that they were crying in the chat, and I hope that they were, at the end, happy tears, and just where you're able to just express yourself and get those emotions out, because sometimes things build up and build up. And so if my words touched you in a positive manner, thank you. That means a lot to me, because like I said, nobody has life figured out. You know what I mean? We're all still striving to do our best, even as we get older. So thank you for that. Sister Slayage sent $9.99 says, Black men fear Eboni's influence because if she can sway other women to demand more, Black women will no longer settle for less that Black men offer. Misogyny hates challenge of change. Wow. I like that. She stated that really well. Thank you for the super chat. Kyra sent $9.99 says, I'm 23 as well, and my rent is $1,500 for a 1-bedroom apartment. It is a struggle. Some of y'all in the chat are simply mean. Anything that guy says, y'all throw tomatoes. Thank you, T, for the advice. You are so welcome. And, like I said, don't take the chat too seriously. People are going to have their opinions. But yeah, being in your 20s in this day and age is not easy, because on top of rent being sky high, we don't even know what the job market is going to be. Then you guys have social media. Like I told y'all in Thursday's meeting, when we were growing up, there was a saying called keeping up with the Joneses. And so when you were so-called keeping up with the Joneses, guess what? The Joneses were right across the street from you. They were in your neighborhood. They were basically in your same economic bracket. They may have bought themselves a newer car. They might have fixed their garden or their lawn a little bit better than yours. But now y'all's Joneses is swiping on TikTok, swiping on Instagram, and you guys are comparing yourself to people who are making six figures. And that's not realistic. Now the entire world, social media is your Joneses. We didn't have that as kids. So you guys have to remember that. You guys are comparing yourself to people who have been blessed, lucky, and put in situations to obtain the things that they had sooner at an earlier age. Even like I tell boys when I talk to them about sports, so many parents, right? Because everybody knows I'm big, the kids are in AAU, all that stuff. And you have so many parents who will tell their boys, you need to be like LeBron. You need to be like LeBron. LeBron James is the status symbol. And I always say, no, LeBron James is an anomaly. There's only one LeBron James. He is 6'8", 280 pounds, solid muscle, super fast. He is an anomaly. The person that you strive to be like is the average NBA player, because that's more obtainable. It's not as obtainable to be LeBron, but you could be Steph Curry. You get what I'm saying? So just some sports stuff, but you can add that. You can, switch whatever celebrity. But, and, once kids hear that, it's like, okay, that makes more sense. Like you're comparing somebody who was like the Superman of basketball. He was drafted in high school. That's not the average person's, story. You're lucky if you can even go D1, let alone get drafted to the NBA. So you'd rather follow a path that makes more sense than the anomaly. So remember that when you're scrolling through social media. But thank you for the super chat. Kitty Cobra sent $4.99, says, I'm a nurse and a full-time student, older than him, working 16. I feel ya. I keep going, young brother. You are doing good. Motivation. Thanks for the show. Thank you. And I hope that young man is seeing this and you're seeing the love that you're getting, just like the young women. I hope you guys are seeing this and seeing the encouragement as well. So thank you, Kitty. Booker Ronan, what's up, Ronan? Ronan sent $5. He says people need to literally run their own race and pace. Less stress, migraines, and collateral damage to yourself and others. Wow. Thank you so much, Ronan. Maria says, T, when's the Discord available? I've been following for a while. We probably will not be open again until about June, but I will keep you guys posted. Kiki Spencer sent 10, says, it pisses me off if it's more acceptable for rappers, 50 Cent, Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg, etc., could express their standards. 20-year-old, light skin, biracial, wavy hair, BBL, Instagram model. Again, that's very true. And that's what I'm saying with the hypocrisy, is that you can have men saying that they want a certain type of woman. They want, men who have money, not just average guys, but the guys who have money, the celebrities, six figures. They can demand, a perfect looking specimen as arm candy, but for Ebony to demand what she demands, it caused a lot of, just heartache for men out here. So it's very interesting. But thank you for the super chat. Sajen says, is Iyanla married? I don't think so. From what people are saying, she's been divorced 3 times. So, and then they said, where's her bus driver? Thank you for the super chat. Maria says, someone said don't date men that are potentially successful because men don't date women that are potentially beautiful. Oh, folks are not ready for that conversation. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Most men, like the man said earlier in the show, most average men get average looking women. But if you are an exceptional man, exceptional money, you're going to go for an exceptional looking woman, above average. So yeah, that is very interesting. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see here. Rancis Gamer Senpai says, someone asked Envy if he would date a bus driver. More importantly, everyone learn the meaning of liberty and don't lose sight of what Ebony's message is. I agree. And what's even more interesting, I wonder if Envy would be okay with his own daughter dating a bus driver. And again, nothing wrong with that. But let's not forget, Envy's rich, his wife is rich. They're raising their kids in privilege. They go to private schools. You know, remember when Angela Simmons dated down? What was everybody saying? You're Reverend Run's daughter. You went to private schools. You had the choice of the best. You could have dated any rich man in the industry, and you get with a credit card scammer and get pregnant by him. Remember, they drug Angela Simmons. Just saying. Let's see here. Getting Lucky in Kentucky. I like that. Said 1999 says, men need to understand you're a man. Why don't y'all have the confidence to do it on your own? Damn, women are doing it. Women have learned our lesson with building a man. Kanye done warned us and we effed around and found out. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you, sis. Let's see here. Ken sent 1999. He says, T, looking amazing as always. I'm not sure if you remember, I started my own landscaping company because of your example. You set an entrepreneur, self-made woman. It inspired me to do the same. That is awesome. I remember you. Thank you for the super chat. And, you know, that's what it's about. Working at your own pace. Did I expect you to have this whole landscaping business, you know, in your 20s? No. But once you were ready and you wanted to better yourself and start your own business, I'm so glad that my words encouraged you and you were able to start your own business. And, you know, that's what it's about, you know, just always trying to better yourself and want better for yourself. So thank you for that. Let's see here. Blatino Boy says, T, can I be a mod? This is Cabo Israel is a troll and he's just spewing nonsense towards you. Well, I invited the Yakabo Israel. You know, I invited him to call in. He didn't call in, so he can troll all he wants. It's wasted energy because I only saw one comment. But, you know, again, the loudest in the room are usually the ones hurt. You know, hit dogs holler. So thank you. But yeah, I'll go ahead and make you a mod. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see here. There you go. You got your moderator wrench. Let's see here. Okay, there you go. Sister Slade said, dating potential gets women played. You need to be already potents. I'd rather cry in a mansion than in the projects. Wow. I'm not mad at you. So thank you for that. So yeah, it's a lot, you know. This discussion was wonderful. I think for the most part, it was respectful. You know, everybody had their own opinions on the situation. And this is what it's about, you know, and that's how I also feel about the Breakfast Club. I thought, you know, regardless of where everybody in that room stood in their opinion, it still ended up being respectful dialogue. And, you know, everybody was able to just agree to disagree. And that's what it's about. At the end of the day, you have one life and one life only. So you have to do what works for you. If you want to build, you know, that woman up and help her, you know, become an entrepreneur and that's what's in you, that's great. If you want to build with that man and y'all, you know, come up together, that's great. If you are at a stage in your life where you're like, no, that's not for me, I don't have another 20 years to waste, that's great. Everybody's journey is different. We all have to self-reflect and see what works for us, as opposed to getting, you know, emotional and getting upset. You know, half of the men upset will never date Ebony, period. Just like half of the women who would get upset at the things that these celebrities and rappers say. You're not even in spaces to date them. Why do you care? You're not going to be invited to these mansion parties. Like, you know, so focus on yourself and getting your life together. And then, you know, putting yourself in a happy space to attract the person that you want, instead of wasting all this energy online crying because some random rapper doesn't want to date fat black girls. That's his loss. You know what I mean? So I think we should all focus on that. You know, everybody has their right to their preference, to what they're willing to accept and not accept. You have one life. Do you? So on that note, you guys, this has been a great stream. I thank everybody once again for coming through. I hope I read most of the super chats. Thank you guys for just all the comments. This was different. It wasn't Spotify Live, but I like this. It was cool kind of matching faces to names. So this was really nice. So thank you guys once again. Everybody have a good night. Have a great weekend. Be safe. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, everyone.